Chapter 451. Strange elderly man Xiao Yunduan spoke to them with a lowered head. Sorry, we are heading home soon. You can continue with shopping. The others in the gang were in a good relationship with Xiao Yunduan, but when cultivated talent Lin and trainee Lu were teasing Xiao Yunduan, they did not dare defend them. Otherwise they might offend Zhao Guanghua, who would surely punish them in return. Hearing that he was leaving, everyone let out a sigh of relief, waving him goodbye. Cultivated talent Lin sneered. Brother Xiao, you really don't understand that we are helping you, right? Instead, you are trying to drive us away? Trainee Lu snapped. Brother Xiao doesn't understand our kindness, but we are still Brother Xiao's friends who care about you. If you don't want to go back to college, Brother Xiao, you can go to the elderly man who claims himself to be enriched with knowledge and wants to find a disciple. You can give it a try, maybe you can make it to a high level in the examination? Ha ha ha, that is very true. Cultivated talent Lin laughed as well. The other students who heard about the elderly man could not help but feel like laughing. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian left the place in a hurry. Darling, those two men are so annoying. Don't get mad, just ignore them. Xiao Xian responded angrily as she took Xiao Yunduan's arm. Xiao Yunduan glanced at her, saying with a smile, No, I am not angry, you should not be angry either. Xiao Xian was startled and laughed. I got angry, yes, but you didn't, right? Xiao Yunduan grinned at her. Don't be mad. Me and them are never going to hang out together, so I don't care what they say. Okay. Xiao Xian nodded with bent eyebrows. She felt so relaxed as she asked curiously. But what elderly man were they talking about? Xiao Yunduan shook his head. No idea. Xiao Xian's eyes brightened and she suggested. Let's go to Mingren Tang and ask Manager Qin about it. The town was too small for Manager Qin not to know everything. Xiao Xian wanted to explore the man's words. She was curious about what she had heard. Xiao Yunduan could not help but laugh. His wife was just too inquisitive. He had not taken it into account, but since his wife wanted to know about this, they could visit Mingren Tang. Okay, let's go. The couple came to Mingren Tang, and Manager Qin smiled. Some more good things? Xiao Xian smiled. Not every time. I have got many chestnuts, yams, and mushrooms at home. I will give you some if you want them. Manager Qin, who was just joking, suddenly felt like eating mushrooms. He smiled. Okay, mushrooms with chicken is the best dish ever. I am waiting for your goods to come. Xiao Xian smiled. Okay, I will bring them to you in a couple of days. Manager Qin took them to the back hall and started to talk. The couple asked about the elderly man's interest in taking disciples. Manager Qin laughed involuntarily and nodded. It's true. 3 days ago, one elderly man was here with his page boy, and they were eating at restaurant Yanhe. The elderly man claimed that he is not occupied, so he wants to take in a disciple to teach. He even has a few conditions for it. He wrote a poster and had it pasted at the gate of the restaurant Yanhe. Everyone has been laughing at him ever since. Chapter 452. Interesting man Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian found the whole thing very interesting. We did not notice the poster when we went in. We will check it out later. Manager Qin smiled. The poster is gone. Someone ripped it off. The page boy in our medical center went to join in the fun, but after listening to a few words, the poster required that the students who want to consult him must be a cultivated talent, be under the age of 25 years, not be too fat or too short, and have a good-looking appearance. Also, he must write well, be smart and studious, be diligent, be healthy, be on call and so on. But most importantly, be in line with his feelings. So, even if that disciple meets every other condition, but does not stand in line with his feelings, he will not pass on any knowledge to him? This is just a joke. He is trying to make a show of it. At least I think so. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Really? The man seems very interesting. Haha. Manager Qin had no more information to share. When they were done with the conversation, they stayed for a while and then bid farewell to Manager Qin. Xiao Xian smiled. Darling, I think that the man is interesting. Let's go and explore. Xiao Yunduan helplessly threw a look at Xiao Xian, smiling. Let's just go home. Xiao Xian was very curious, and just could not help but think about this. She tried to convince Xiao Yunduan harder. But I think that people who dare to brag this much must have some skills. Let's just go and take a look, alright? If he is a big liar, we can go home directly. Manager Qin said that the person lives at Linhe village in the southern outskirts. It's in the same direction as our home, just requires a few more turns. Xiao Yunduan could not say anything to counter her, so he just nodded in agreement. They left the town and headed to Linhe village. The elderly man and the page boy lived in an old house, which looked neat and well arranged with a small yard. Excuse me, is this elderly Yun's home? An elderly servant squeaked the door open and looked expressionless. Here for the teacher. Write some words first. The couple. Xiao Xian smiled, and gave Xiao Yunduan a push. Darling, let's do it. Xiao Yunduan was here to keep Xiao Xian company for fun, but when he heard the servant's tone, he could not help but feel unconvinced. He nodded and said to the servant politely, "It is cold outside, can you let my wife inside so she can get warm?" The servant looked at Xiao Yunduan, eased his expression and nodded. Okay. Thanks. Xiao Xian smiled and went into the room. The servant took Xiao Yunduan to study close by. It was very quiet in the house. The elderly man must be away. The inside and outside of this house were clean and tidy. Although it was an old house, it had obviously been repaired. It looked quite simple and rustic, but it gave people a very comfortable feeling. That servant was in his 40s, dressed in a dark outfit. He did not particularly show anything, but Xiao Xian felt that he was not just an ordinary servant. Maybe this elderly man was capable of something. That would be great. Xiao Xian started to make imaginative stories in her head and looked up, seeing Xiao Yunduan walking towards her. Chapter 453, Another visit. Xiao Xian got taken aback. She stood up and smiled. How did it go? Xiao Yunduan pinched her wrist, whispering. We will talk outside. Xiao Xian nodded. The couple waved goodbye to the servant and left. Getting on the wagon, Xiao Xian said to Xiao Yunduan, Darling. Xiao Yunduan sighed slightly, replying in a little distressed tone. I did not meet the elderly man, but this uncle is excellent too. After a rough look, he said that my handwriting was too small, my strokes were erratic, and my mind was not stable enough. In fact, I also felt a little bit like this, but it was not as thorough as he said. The servant's comments were sharp and straightforward. A person without self-knowledge would not be able to accept that, and might even mock him for not knowing and pretending to understand everything. But Xiao Yunduan was different. He was a cultivated talent, and he flushed after hearing the comments. But he knew clearly that this well-behaved servant was telling the truth. Xiao Xian was shocked to hear his words. She blinked and sighed. So the elderly man you did not meet should be even more capable? I think so. Xiao Yunduan looked earnest, as he smiled. The uncle asked me to visit him again tomorrow morning, and I should meet him at that time. Xiao Xian's eyes sparkled. Darling, you should definitely work hard. If that elderly man is capable, he can help you. He will definitely be much better than the low-class college teachers. Xiao Xian found the whole thing becoming more real and less vague. Xiao Yunduan was motivated too. He nodded and said, I will be there tomorrow morning. The couple went home and Xiao Yunduan walked into the study. He was thinking about a few articles, which might be of some help the next day. Xiao Xian suddenly thought that Xiao Yunduan should not visit the elderly man empty-handed. But what should he take with them? That elderly man was a very strange person, so she needed to think about this carefully. The gifts should not be too precious, not fitting his style. Food should be the best, produced by a farming family. Qiao Xian asked her mother-in-law for help. They held a discussion and finally decided upon 2 pieces of smoked meat, a portion of smoked sausage, a package of dried radish, a package of dried plums, a few fresh winter bamboo shoots, a few salted duck eggs, and some preserved eggs. There weren't too many things, but they were produced by the family, well prepared and full of good intentions. Qiao Xian told Xiao Yunduan about it and he smiled. "Thank you for your help." Qiao Xian flushed and smiled shyly. "Mom helped too." "Yes." Xiao Yunduan chuckled. "Thanks for the help, Mom." They ate breakfast and left, with Xiao Sanlang driving the wagon. Qiao Xian was very nervous, but the others did not know that Xiao Yunduan was visiting someone special. Soon after lunch, Xiao Lulang suddenly showed up. "Eldest uncle, eldest aunt, something is wrong. Cousin made a mistake and offended Dean Meng of our college." Dean Meng got so angry that he drove him out of the college. "He is not going to study at our college anymore. How can my cousin offend Dean Meng? Dean Meng is the teacher and he should be respected. Cousin is just too stupid. What should be done now?" Chapter 454, What? Xiao Lulang kept making complaints, pretending as if he was distressed on behalf of his cousin. But he looked really excited and could not help but smile. That speech startled everyone in the first section of the family. "What? What is it? That is not possible. How can my 5th brother offend the dean?" "Yeah, you must have heard it wrong. Talk about it in detail. How did Yunduan offend Dean Meng?" Xiao Lulang cleared his throat. "I went to the college yesterday and heard about this. But I am so concerned about him, so I hurried back." "Where is cousin? Is he not at home? Is he too ashamed to come out?" "But it is his fault. The incident just happened. And he can't escape from it. We have to solve the problem, right?" "Yeah." Eldest uncle nodded. "Just tell me what happened. Yunduan is not at home, it is so annoying." Hearing Xiao Yunduan was not at home, Xiao Lulang was surprised, but he became cheerful again. Good that he was not at home, in case he was interrupted. "Let me tell you. Let me tell you." Qiao Xian walked in at that moment. Hearing Xiao Lulang's arrival, Xiao Xiaoqi rushed towards Qiao Xian. He did not trust his cousin, but he trusted his 5th sister-in-law. Hearing what Xiao Lulang said, Qiao Xian looked at him angrily. Xiao Lulang glanced at Qiao Xian indifferently. "5th sister-in-law, don't mess around. This is a huge deal. Since it is a huge deal, I am telling the story. You are just trying to mess around. I know this better than you. My husband and I went into town and he told me everything. Oh, most importantly, the actual version differs from yours. My husband was not wrong." Xiao Lulang sneered. "But he was driven out of the college by Dean Meng, is that right?" Qiao Xian sneered. "That is because of the money. Someone set him up. That is just a claim made by him. You are the one making a false claim, and you wish that my husband is not doing well. Stop it." Miss Qiao turned impatient. "Shut up, Xiao Lulang. Miss Qiao, you talk." Yang Xiaoni added. "Yeah, 5th sister-in-law, tell us the truth." Everyone supported Xiao Xian and ignored him. Angrily, he turned to the eldest uncle. But eldest uncle did not meet his eyes. Xiao Lulang sneered inwardly. "Okay, let's hear her version." Qiao Xian narrated the whole thing step by step. She did not reveal the conjecture that Zhao Guanghua must have teamed up with others, otherwise Xiao Yunduan's reputation might be ruined. So, she pushed all the blame to Zhao Guanghua. Zhao Guanghua and his followers set up Xiao Yunduan, and that irritated Dean Meng, who ordered 50 hits on all of them. Xiao Yunduan was totally innocent. But he was so good that people got jealous of him, and made him run into this trap. Chapter 455, Nonsense. Dean Meng was too angry to say anything, and he was used to being respected all the time. He had to vent his anger when his favorite orchids were broken. He just could not hold the anger to make himself feel worse. That was why Xiao Yunduan did not want to continue facing the wrath and chose to go home. He could still study at home. Miss Fang and the other members of the family became irritated. They could not blame Dean Meng, but they were all thinking the same thing inside their hearts. They were quite disappointed as well. Wasn't Dean Meng supposed to be a knowledgeable scholar? How could he behave so unfairly? Xiao Lulang did not believe what Xiao Xian said. If it had not been cousin's fault, why didn't he defend himself? Didn't he feel unhappy? Dean Meng is not a confused man. Xiao Xian was surprised. Dean Meng is never confused. He loves the orchids and he was very angry. Also, didn't I just say that my husband did not defend himself because he did not want to make Dean Meng feel even worse? Otherwise, those 3 students would have insisted on the conviction and made excuses. Would you take responsibility if Dean Meng got annoyed? Those students already admitted that they broke the orchids, and they set up my husband because they were jealous of him. My husband had an alibi, clear and straightforward. Everyone from the college knows about this, but only you have no idea what is going on. Cousin, you have been reading for years, but you still don't know that you should look into the case first before spreading the story. Xiao Lulang. Miss Fang got annoyed and snapped at Xiao Lulang. You ruthless man. How dare you come to us and talk about this? But for Miss Chiao, we would all have been scammed by you. I am warning you, you should not think about spreading the rumor in the village. Otherwise I will give you a hard time during the new year. You better pass on the warning to your mother too. Xiao Lulang shivered out of anger, but he looked very guilty. Xiao Dalong, who had always had a good temper, was not pleased either. Cousin, it is your fault. You should have looked into the matter first before telling us about it. You just frightened us. Eldest uncle sighed annoyedly too. Lulang, you, don't do this anymore. Dalong is right, you should talk about something only after you look into the matter. Xiao Xian chuckled. I have noticed that you have been at home after the college examination, and you have not been to the college for a long time. You must have lost the method of looking into the news. It is soon going to be the new year. Are you going to college or not after that? What about going there after the spring plow next year? You need to do some labor for your home since you are not promising enough to have a future in studies, right? You can't just not do anything, right? Xiao Lulang got both annoyed and embarrassed. What do you mean? He was too guilty to go to the college again after he failed the college examination. He had been hiding at home, claiming that he was exhausted. So, he needed to stay at home and rest. Xiao Xian did not like to reveal people's drawbacks. But she wished to reveal Xiao Lulang's shortcomings at this moment. She was very willing to do so. Cousin, you are a scholar. How can you fail to notice my meaning? I am being kind-hearted. Chapter 456, Shut Their Mouths. Miss Fang sneered. True, don't ignore our kindness. Be careful not to become someone who can neither read nor plant crops. Xiao Xian laughed. You are right, Mom. Miss Fang looked proud. Yeah, not sure if he understands it though. He, of course, got it. Xiao Lulang became really annoyed and said, I was just passing on the news out of kindness, but you are all laughing at me. You are not good people either. Then, he left in anger. Miss Fang shouted in a loud voice. Be sure to tell your parents to keep their mouth shut. Xiao Lulang almost tripped himself over. Eldest uncle could not help but look at Xiao Xian. Lulang is already suffering a lot for not passing the examination, why push him? Miss Fang was displeased. How can you say that? Miss Chiao is defending her husband. Did you hear what Lulang said? He had made up stories about your son. Dad. Xiao Xian smiled. Mom is right. I was just very displeased. Also, maybe my cousin will become really hardworking after this stimulation, and pass the examination the next time? Miss Fang nodded. Yeah, what a good method. Miss Qiao, you are so smart. Qiao Xian smiled. Thanks, Mom. Eldest uncle, anyway. Eldest uncle felt that he would get really annoyed if he continued speaking to the two of them. Miss Qiao was so thick-skinned. Any other daughter-in-law would get embarrassed when scolded by her father-in-law. But she seemed unrepentant. Moreover, she was still laughing cheekily. Then, what will Yunduan do, if he cannot go to college? Everyone was startled, and turned to look at Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian, she was confused. Why was everyone staring at her? She had no idea. My husband should have an idea of his own. Let's wait until he comes home, okay, Miss Fang sighed. Let's wait until he comes home. As the group was dismissed, Qiao Xian smiled at Miss Fang. Husband did not tell us about it because he did not want to worry us. But I noticed his displeasure after spending one day with him. He told me not to reveal this to you. He knows what to do. Mom, he has never made you worried and disappointed. He must have an idea of his own. Don't worry. Miss Fang felt much better after hearing that. She nodded and smiled. Yeah, Yunduan has been very understanding since childhood. He even knew how to comfort me when he was young. He should have an idea of his own. It was not until evening when Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Yunduan arrived home in the cold. They had coal basins at home and the thick door drapery drove the chill away. Yang Xiaomi served them hot tea. Miss Fang, eldest uncle, Dalong and Qi, as well as Tao Tao were all gathered in the room, hearing their return. Xiao Sanlang was drinking tea when he glanced about, asking curiously. What is going on with you all? Miss Fang rolled her eyes and said, just drink your tea. Yunduan, feel better after the tea? Chapter 457, Hesitation. Xiao Yunduan nodded and smiled. I was in the wagon and I should be fine. But the third brother was out in the cold. Miss Fang said, he has thick skin and with so many clothes on, he won't freeze. Xiao Yunduan chuckled. Mom, anything you want to tell me? Miss Fang sighed. I don't know what to say, but let your wife recount the story. Xiao Yunduan's heart skipped a beat, as he turned to Qiao Xian nervously. What was going on? Qiao Xian gave him a comforting look, and narrated the episode about Xiao Lilang's visit. Xiao Sanlang snapped angrily. What a scumbag. He wishes us bad luck. How horrible. Xiao Yunduan said, Mom, don't worry about this. Believe me, I am not affected by this turn of events. I can definitely make it in the next examination. Miss Fang replied. But you can't go to college again, can you? Is it okay if you don't have anyone instructing you? Dean Meng should know that you are innocent. What about begging him for forgiveness with some precious presents? No need, Mom. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Don't worry, I know what I should do. Miss Fang still looked hesitant. Xiao Yunduan was worried that she would do something behind his back, so he added. Mom, I have visited the province 2 times and I have learned more than I could ever learn here at the college. Brother Xie is from a literary family, and with his help, I can do better than ever. Moreover, I will go to him in spring again. Also, Mom, just think about this. What can I learn from someone like Dean Meng? Xiao Yunduan knew pretty well that the Qiao family was behind the incident. Dean Meng was just an ordinary dean, not very evil but not straightforward either. He was not going to offend the Qiao family for his sake. So, there was no need to beg him for forgiveness. Also, he really did not want to beg him for forgiveness. Miss Fang had been used to following what Xiao Yunduan said because he was her most precious son among all of her children. She could not help but rely on him. For real? Yes, for real. Please believe me, Mom. Okay. Miss Fang sighed and smiled. You always have ideas of your own. I believe you. Xiao Yunduan nodded. I won't disappoint you. Well. Miss Fang waved her hands, smiling casually. No need to get disappointed at all. I have never been disappointed by any of you. Now we are living a very good life and you have just become a cultivated talent, which is a huge honor for the family already. I am satisfied with this. Xiao Yunduan felt his heart filled with warmth. Thanks, Mom. But he was going to make it to the next level, and one after that too. After talking for a while, Xiao Yunduan returned to the room to change his shoes, and Xiao Xian followed behind. How was it today? Did you meet the elderly man? Is he a very capable person? Otherwise he would have come home earlier. Yeah. Xiao Yunduan nodded and looked very excited. Master Yun is very knowledgeable. No wonder he has put forward so many conditions boldly. I listened to his speech and I feel that I have read 10 more years of books. Master Yun asked me to visit him every third day, and he would give me homework and instruct me to do some article interpretation. I feel more confident about the examination already. Xiao Yunduan could not hold his excitement anymore. He was totally amazed by his experience during the day. Chapter 458, Capable Elder Man. If he had been 70% certain that he could make it to Recommended Man, now he was 90% sure that he would make it. After studying with Master Yun for half a year, he was even 70% sure to make it to the final shortlist. If he continued, he would definitely make it to Advanced Scholar too. He was feeling different now. Thanks. But for you, we would not have visited him the other day. Xiao Yunduan was feeling very emotional and grateful. Had it not been for Qiao Xian's curiosity, they would not have insisted on going there, since everything sounded so ridiculous at that time. No one would have assumed that it was for real. But it was for real. Moreover, that elderly man was very capable. Qiao Xian smiled brightly as she turned to look at him with sparkling eyes. I was curious and led you there, but it is you who are capable enough that Master Yun took you in. We are now heading towards the bright end of a tunnel, and we are going to make Zhao Guanghua and his followers so annoyed. In fact, Xiao Xian behaved that day not entirely because she was simply curious. She just felt that some real talents tended to have weird tempers and acted differently from ordinary people. She felt that a visit would not hurt. Thankfully that visit turned out to be worth the while. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Still, I need to thank you. No wonder, Mom calls you a lucky star. Qiao Xian smiled too, but she was feeling quite shy. Xiao Yunduan added. Master Yun says that he is willing to teach me, but he can't take me in as a disciple now. That meant that he did not think Xiao Yunduan was qualified enough to become his disciple. His words made Xiao Xian feel motivated. She countered and said, but you are so good that Master Yun is still so particular about you? Just work hard, darling. He will accept you someday. Xiao Yunduan smiled and nodded. Okay. That was what he was thinking too. Qiao Xian asked Xiao Yunduan if Master Yun liked the presents. Xiao Yunduan smiled. He loved them, especially salted duck eggs, dried radishes, smoked meat and sausages. Actually, he liked all of them. At noon, the servants steamed salted duck eggs and fried smoked meat with dried radish and garlic sprouts. Xiao Xian was happy. Next time, you can bring some delicious food with you, a few things each time, okay? Xiao Yunduan nodded with a smile. Those were not precious, but filled with his sincerity. Qiao Xian was very glad, so she wanted to celebrate a little and cooked a few dishes. A dish of fried winter bamboo shoots with smoked meat, and a dish of steamed mandarin fish with smoked meat. She cut moderately thick bamboo shoots and stir-fried them with smoked meat. The winter bamboo shoots absorbed the excess oil from the bacon. The fresh fragrance of the bamboo shoots and the salty fragrance of the smoked meat complemented each other perfectly. She put them on a plate and garnished them with some green chives. The fragrance was tangy, the oil was shiny and attractive, and it looked wonderful. Qiao Xian's food was always so interesting, even though they were just the same dishes all over. Sliced smoked meat was neatly arranged in a circle around mandarin fish crossed with a knife. After steaming, the snow-white fish meat and the bright red and translucent smoked meat slices were mixed in half and half to contrast with each other. The steaming heat carried the fragrance into the air, making people salivate. Xiao Xian suggested that she was going to make claypot rice for lunch the next day. They had a few stoves and claypots at home. She had them made when they were processing smoked meat. They should definitely eat claypot rice with smoked meat. Chapter 459. Reliable Xiao Yunduan did not tell the family about Master Yun. For one thing, they would not understand the importance of Master Yun, and for another, Master Yun did not allow him to reveal the secret. Master Yun liked him and had decided to take him as the only disciple. So, he asked his servant Song to rip all the posters in the town. For that, he was laughed at by people, who believed that he must have learned of his mistake and stopped the fantasy. But he did not bother to make any explanation. He usually traveled around with a few servants and settled down whenever he felt like it. When he felt bored, he would take in some disciples and pass on his knowledge. He did everything on his own will. He did not care if he missed some potential talents. Real talents would never understand what they themselves needed and had missed taking from him. Also, he believed that Xiao Yunduan was the most important disciple, whom he should not reveal randomly. Anyway, he just needed to understand what he wanted himself, and that was all. Xiao Yunduan had a donkey cart, so it was very convenient for him to travel there every third day and spend one whole day from morning to the evening with Master Yun. He would always bring some vegetables from home, and smoked sausages for Master Yun and the servants to eat. Everyone liked the stuff from his house. He was thinking about holding some ceremony, but Master Yun waved that off. Hence, he dropped the idea as well. Miss Fang was worried that Xiao Lulang would spread the rumor about her son's dismissal from the college, so she kept an eye on the family to see what they could possibly do. But it seemed that there was no rumor that came out of their mouths, so she dropped the surveillance eventually. Xiao Lulang would not dare to spread any rumor. His inner secret was revealed by Xiao Xian, and with one more word out of his mouth, the first section of the family would talk much worse about him. Ms. Ma was worried too. She was quite scared of Ms. Fang, and she was getting more and more worried, for some reason. They thought that it would be the end of the whole thing, when third uncle and second uncle came to speak with eldest uncle, telling him that since Xiao Yunduan was driven out of the college, he could just drop the idea of attending the examination. They did not think that Xiao Yunduan would make it, when he had no teacher to give him instructions. What is the point of spending money on him? Yunduan could just come and help to do some farming at home for you. Yeah. Our son is very smart, and we are going to support Lulang to continue with his studies. If he makes it in the end, we can all benefit from him. Hearing those stupid words, Miss Fang drove them out and shut the door. Honestly, you old man. That college accused Duan for what he did not do. It is just a shitty place. Duan doesn't have to go there to learn knowledge. Duan is a friend of young Master Xia, and he is more reliable and can help him better than anyone at the college. Duan says that he knows what to do, so we need to trust him. Don't mess around with your brothers. Those stupid people only talk nonsense. One more word from them, and I will drive them out with a club. Eldest uncle was quite displeased too. He replied weakly. All right then, just drop it. I am not saying that Yunduan should not attend the examination. He has studied for so many years and he has made it to cultivated talent, of course he should continue. Ms. Fang snorted. Good that you are reliable for once. Eldest uncle, had he not been reliable before? Hearing what happened, Xiao Yunduan laughed and said nothing more. Xiao Lulang, on the other hand, got quite stimulated by what Xiao Xian said, and decided to attend the school after all. He did not need to be ashamed of anything. He wasn't the only one who failed the test. The holiday did not start until one day before the preliminary New Year. So, Zhao Guanghua kept asking Xiao Lulang about how Xiao Yunduan was doing these days. Chapter 460. Professional storymaker Qiao Wei was very pleased to see Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan having a hard time. So, Zhao Guanghua was going to get some news out of the guy in front of him to make her happy. Xiao Lulang would never say anything good about Xiao Yunduan. He kept complaining about Xiao Yunduan, and described how distressed he was after he was expelled. Zhao Guanghua was very glad to hear the news. Soon, He narrated the whole story to Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei was glad to hear this. She was now sure that Xiao Yunduan was never going to become a successful man in the future, and Xiao Xian would live the rest of her life as a rough, ordinary countryside bitch. But Xiao Wei and Zhao Guanghua soon would know that what they wished would not turn out to be true. Xiao Lulang was so glad to see Zhao Guanghua inviting him intimately. He believed that he was now considered a good friend of Zhao Guanghua. He thought of Zhao Ming, whom he fell for, and kept sucking up to Zhao Guanghua, implicitly saying that he wanted to visit the Zhao family. He really wished to go there, and most importantly, he wished to meet Zhao Ming again. He and Lady Zhao must be destined to see each other. Lady Zhao beamed at him last time, and they might get a chance to have a chat today. Lady Zhao was definitely going to be moved by him, and then he was going to ask his mother to hire a matchmaker who could help them establish the marital relationship. The more he thought about this, the more happy he became. But he did not have a good residence. He wished that he could have an equally good house like that of the first section of the family. Xiao Lulang started to feel jealous again. But Zhao Guanghua did not care about Xiao Lulang at all. Even though he was not a smart guy, he could sense that Xiao Lulang wished to visit his home. However, Zhao Guanghua ignored his suggestion. He was not going to let anyone in his house. Zhao Guanghua did not even turn him down with excuses. He just snapped at him, saying that it was not a good time, stopping Xiao Lulang from saying anything more. Xiao Lulang felt very disappointed, but soon, he got increasingly motivated. He believed that good things never came easy, and that it must be the barriers he needed to overcome for his relationship with Lady Zhao. As long as they loved each other and never gave up, they would definitely get married in the end. Xiao Lulang was definitely good at making up stories. In the middle of the last month before New Year, the Yuezheng family asked Chu Shan to pass on some gifts to the first section of the family. First Madam prepared things which included 150 kilograms of silver frost charcoal, 2 hand heaters, 2 copper soup pots, several pieces of deerskin and sheepskin for boots, several pieces of fox, mink, squirrel, and rabbit fur for clothes, and thick 4 pieces of snow cloaks and cloaks for men and women. Her gift also included 15 kilograms of fine pearl rice, 15 kilograms of glutinous rice, pastries and candies, dried seafood, a whole slaughtered sheep, 2 roasted suckling pigs, fine wine, and a box containing fashionable silk flowers from the province, for sets of skin care creams and powders, several toys and so on. There were not any precious items such as gold, silver, gemstones and jade, but these were all practical things. Especially silver frost charcoal, hand heaters as well as the cloaks. They were exactly what they needed. Everyone in the family had a share. For example, the cosmetics were for the girls. Xia Jingrong also had presents prepared for them. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were very surprised by what they received. First Madam was just too generous at this point. Miss Fang was startled by the presents. But Xiao Xian explained and said that they helped the Yuezheng family last time when they were in the province, thus this was the reciprocity that they received. The two families would hang out like friends in the future. Only then did Ms. Fang feel assured. Chapter 461, Pride. Yunduan is excellent. This is what a learned man should be like. Since you are all good friends, we should prepare some presents for them too. Qiao Xian nodded and smiled. You are right, Mom. They had a lot of space in the new house. They had a place to park the wagon and hold the horse. So, Chu Shan and the coachman spent the night at their house and left the following day. Qiao Xian and Ms. Fang shared the presents with Ms. Su, Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao, and they were all smiling and thanking Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian when they heard how they got the presents. Miss Su was again feeling lucky not to have split hairs with fifth sister-in-law when she was first married. Otherwise she would never have enjoyed any of this. Fresh mutton was the most delicious. For dinner, Qiao Xian made pan-fried lamb chops, roasted lamb spine in sauce, and stewed mutton soup with yam. The roast suckling pig was cut into half and served on the table. The skin was ruddy, crispy, and the meat was tender, fat but not greasy. Every bite was a pleasure. They all spoke highly of the main dish, which Qiao Xian liked too. It was a big dish that was not easy to prepare, and it was not sold at ordinary restaurants. Only when regular customers in famous restaurants placed a deposit in advance and made a reservation would they cook it. It was a rare chance that this dish could be made. But roast suckling pig might not be easy to get. They could use pork belly to make roast pork, same crispy in skin and tender in meat. The following morning, Xiao Xian had the presents prepared and asked Chu Shan to take them back with him. The gifts included homemade smoked meat, sausage and smoked fish, fresh shiitake mushrooms, fungus, and white fungus picked from the fungus shed, as well as dried chestnuts and honey from the mountains. There were some dried vegetables such as winter bamboo shoots, dried radishes, and dried beans packed as well. All of them were home-produced. Chu Shan accepted the presents with a smile. They left early in the morning with warm steamed buns stuffed with mutton and green onions. The first section of the family was so friendly. They had steamed buns the night before, and heated them up early in the morning for them to eat on the road. They also boiled a few eggs, candies, sunflower seeds and other snacks for them to use on the road. Each of them were given red envelopes of 2 liang each. So, they were never afraid of traveling this far. In fact, they looked forward to the trip here. They always had good things to eat. The steamed buns with filling and the lamb spine and ribs were all delicious. Seeing wagons leaving and coming to the first section of the family, the villagers were all used to the scene. They could not take a look inside the wagons due to the big house the first section of the family were living in at the moment. Second uncle and third uncle did not dare to come to the door, since they offended Ms. Fang a while ago. So, they could only make some complaints at home. Widow's son was even more jealous than them. Whenever she saw how the first section of the family got better than before, she felt more jealous. If she had made her daughter marry Xiao Yunduan, she would have a lot to show off now. But now she could only watch as a spectator at this moment. Widow's son could not stand it anymore. She met her lover on the sly, urging him to deal with the first section of the family. I hate Ms. Fang. She is so proud now. I am so annoyed. I really need to get it over with. Widow's son's lover was very annoyed by her pestering. He nodded and said, okay, I will think of some way to deal with them. Don't worry about it. Remember what you said, or I will not give you a good time. Okay, I got it now, I do. Chapter 462, Happiness. Widow's son stopped her complaining, and waited to see the show. However, 2 days later, Xiao Xiaoqi set the trap in the mountains and caught a wild boar weighing almost 200 kilograms, shocking the whole village. Widow's son got so sour. What kind of luck was that? The first section of the family was so glad. They hired someone from the village to get the wild boar back, and shared several kilos with the helpers. They made a sumptuous lunch for them to enjoy where they could eat as much meat as they could. They could even pack and take the leftover home. Everyone was so happy about it. The second and third section of the family were given only 5 kilograms each respectively. Ms. Niu had thought that they would be given at least 50 kilograms, so they were shocked when seeing what they received. Ms. Fang did not care about their displeasure. She smiled. We need to make smoked meat, and soon we will be taking gifts back to our natal families, especially the Qiao family. A decent amount has been given to you. When we get rich, you will get more. Those who were given meat from the first section of the family all nodded at this, saying that it was right. You are living separately, and that is all you should get. True. Xiao Erlang and Xiao Silang helped too, and they both got 4 kilograms respectively. Now you have 5 kilograms more, that is already a lot to be given to a cousin. I would have been so glad if my cousins did this for me. Some smart ones, when seeing the first section of the family living a better life, defended the first section of the family, hoping that one day they could get some help from them. All they needed to do was to defend them verbally. Widow's son and some others wanted to turn the family against each other, but they did not dare to. By the end, everyone was defending the first section of the family. Eldest uncle did not dare to counter his wife in public, so he had to pretend as if he did not catch the helping look his brothers threw to him. His brothers got so annoyed. Things were different now. A short while later, second uncle sneered. Eldest sister-in-law, you are looking down at us. Let's just wait and see. You should never come and beg us for help when you need it. Miss Fang laughed. We won't. If we need help, we will try to come up with solutions ourselves. After all, we all have a life to live, and we can't just turn to others for help all the time. We are all people who can work and live well. Everyone nodded in agreement. Second uncle got even more annoyed after hearing this. He left the place with a sunken face. Miss Fang felt so happy to have vented her anger in this way. When the crowd was gone, Miss Fang, together with her daughters-in-law and sons, started to salt the wild boar meat and clean the yard. Soon, she proposed. What about preparing the things to be taken to your mother's families? We have enough time. Miss Su nodded in agreement. Miss Fang said, how about Miss Su and I go home tomorrow and Miss Chow the day after? What about you, Ms. Yang? Yang Xiaoni said indifferently, Mom, we will go and pay tribute to my deceased parents at their tombs after Minor New Year. Miss Fang did not object. Okay, whichever you like. Xiao Xian agreed to go to the Qiao family the day after tomorrow. But she was not going to bring wild boar meat or any other precious things. She smiled at Miss Fang. Mom, don't save me a portion of wild boar meat. We only need 2 chickens, 1 basket of eggs and a few pastries bought from the street. Chapter 463, Unexpected Guest. She did not want the Qiao family to know what she had at her home. Chickens and eggs were okay, because villagers always had some chickens at home. Miss Fang had already learned how Qiao Xian's life was at her own home, so she somehow disliked her parents. Hence, she nodded at Xiao Xian's suggestion. She smiled. Sure, then I will give you 20 liang like I did last time, and you can do whatever you want. Xiao Xian thanked her and said, I will give the remaining amount back to you, Mom. Miss Fang laughed. Just add it to your own savings. Yunduan needs money, and the expenses can be counted from the shared savings. After all, when Yunduan becomes successful in the future, he will take care of his brothers. They can take care of him now. Xiao Xian did not counter that, but nodded in agreement, smiling. Her mother-in-law was such a nice lady. So Miss Fang and Ms. Su prepared their stuff. They had smoked meat, sausages, fish and ducks with them, as well as 10 kilograms of wild boar for each family as 2 jars of wine. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao also picked 2 baskets of fresh mushrooms for them to take along. The Yuezheng family had given a few melon seeds, peanuts, pine nuts, preserved fruit, peanut candy, walnut candy, osmanthus cakes, some of which were also put in their luggage. If either of them needed to add something, they could buy the things with their own money. Miss Su picked 3 garments, a few folk flowers and 2 bags of needles and threads. Apart from this, she was going to offer 4 liang to her mother. On the day when they left, Miss Su dressed up her children whilst she herself had a silver hairpin on top of her hair as well. She was dressed in new clothes and left together with Miss Fang, eldest uncle and Tao Tao. They had a donkey cart and did not need to walk anymore. Xiao Sanlang was driving the cart. He dropped Miss Su and Xiao Dalong, and then Miss Fang. Ms. Zu's home was located in a village which wasn't big enough for the donkey cart to get in. They still needed to walk a few miles, but that already was much more convenient than before. Xiao Sanlang spent one night with Miss Fang at his grandparents' place, and returned home the next day. Then he picked up Miss Su and her family so they could head home together. When they were gone, the house seemed so quiet. Especially since the 2 children were not at home, making some noise. They had nothing else to do but think about what to eat. Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Xian were talking about how to make the claypot rice, which Xiao Xian had decided to make for dinner. Xiao Xiaoqi offered to help too. Yang Xiaoni was proficient in making the preparations. She washed the pot, and she prepared the fire and stove. Xiao Xian picked some cabbage and garlic sprouts from the garden. When the claypot rice was almost cooked, she spread the sliced sausage and smoked duck on top, poured over the prepared sauce, added the blanched lettuce, and sprinkled the chopped garlic leaves when it was almost ready. A delicious and wonderful portion of claypot rice would be served. Qiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni chatted happily in the open, bright kitchen. When the claypot rice was just on the stove and the side dishes were about to be put in, a very loud female voice arose at the door. "Where is everyone?" Xiao Xiaoqi shouted loudly. "Cousin, third sister-in-law and fifth sister-in-law are cooking in the kitchen." She wasn't that glad when he made the announcement. "Cousin?" Yang Xiaoni and Qiao Xian exchanged a look. Qiao Xian thought for a while and said, "Xiao Meiji, I believe. The daughter of third uncle. She might have gone to her parents' house to deliver presents." Yang Xiaoni pursed her lips. "She isn't very nice. She was not here at our wedding. Did she come over when you got married?" Chapter 464. No idea. Qiao Xian shook her head. "Don't think so. Never heard of her before." Yang Xiaoni tooted. "Wonder what she is doing here?" Qiao Xian chuckled. "No idea, let's go and check it out." "Okay." The two walked out of the kitchen and saw Xiao Meiji and Xiao Xiaoji standing in the main hall. Xiao Xiaoji had been here before, but Xiao Meiji looked so greedy as she looked around. She sized both Yang Xiaoni and Qiao Xian up from head to feet, rolling her eyes, and sat down on the chair. "So you are Ms. Qiao and Ms. Yang? Serve me some tea and melon seeds. I am your relative, so I don't care about your foolishness. Shame on you that you don't know how to serve people." Xiao Xiaoji sneered too. Qiao Xian looked confused and blinked. "Third sister-in-law, who is this woman coming to our home to show off? What is wrong with her?" Yang Xiaoni laughed. "I don't know who it is. But she seems to think that this is her home. Tut, tut, how shameless." Xiao Xiaoji threw them a weird look. "This is my elder sister." Xiao Meiji shouted loudly. "What are you talking about?" Before Xiao Meiji got married, the first section of the family had no standing in front of the second and third section of the family. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma kept bad-mouthing the first section of the family. Xiao Meiji had heard a lot of stories, and watched a lot of shows, so she never thought that the first section of the family was worth much. In her eyes, she believed that her family was better than the first section of the family, who were just their laborers. She was living at Jiangjia village, very far from Shaoding village. The distance would require a whole day trip. But that was not very far, after all. Xiao Meiji said that it was too far for her to go home, so she only came over before or after Chinese New Year every year, not otherwise. She did not want to give red packets to Qiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni when they got married, so she ignored the invitations. But when she came home this time, she heard about Ms. Ma and Xiao Ziotis cribbing about the first section of the family. Xiao Meiji got so annoyed that she wanted to teach them a lesson. Since this day, eldest uncle, Ms. Fang, and even Xiao Dalong, Ms. Su and Xiao Sanlang were all gone, Xiao Meiji decided to teach the others a lesson. Xiao Xiaoji led her here. But she did not believe that the first section of the family would have built a really big house. Villagers always saved some money for a new house, and that was not a rare thing. Yes, they had a new house, so what? But when they came to the yard of the first section of the family, Xiao Meiji felt jealousy burning inside her heart. How ridiculous. Then she turned furious. Where did the first section of the family get this much money? They built a new house but never helped their family. How dare eldest uncle keep saying that he would take care of the second and third section of the family all the time? They were all liars. Xiao Meiji finally understood why her mother and sister were so angry. She pushed the door open and walked into the yard. Xiao Meiji felt more than sour. She was shocked. As she walked into the main hall and saw the fresh furniture as well as beautiful, crystal-clear glazed windows, Xiao Meiji wished that she had them all for herself. Note, she is just a small role, only in the story for a few chapters. Chapter 465, my sister Xiao Meiji made up her mind that she was going to teach these two newly-wedded daughters-in-law an unforgettable lesson. She was going to tell her eldest uncle about what she wanted. She was going to force the eldest uncle to give her everything she wanted. That was what she used to do earlier. However, Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni did not care about her at all. They sneered at the woman in front of them. Xiao Meiji got so annoyed. Hearing what Xiao Meiji asked, Xiao Xian smiled. "We don't know you." Yang Xiaoni said, "Who are you? Why are you making a fuss at our home? How ridiculous. How dare you?" Xiao Xiaoji shouted. "She is my sister, my elder sister." Yang Xiaoni said, "We don't know your sister, nor is she a part of our family." Xiao Meiji was almost speechless. "How dare you treat me like this? I am going to tell eldest uncle about it when he comes back. He will teach all of you a lesson." Xiao Xian said coldly, "Be my guest, we will wait and see. You are the crazy one that comes to our home and makes a scene. Shame on you for reporting us. Are you more noble than anyone else?" Yang Xiaoni sized her up roughly. "So, you are Xiao Meiji? Instead of calling me third sister-in-law out of politeness, you are trying to teach me? You don't have any rules." Xiao Xian raised her eyebrows and snorted with her chin up. "My father is an officer in the county, you want me to bow to you?" Xiao Meizi's face twisted. "You are bullying me." Yang Xiaoni suddenly let out a scream, startling Xiao Meiji and Xiao Xiaoji. She held Xiao Xian's wrist. "Fifth sister-in-law, please, go to the kitchen and check our claypot rice. We must not let it get ruined." Xiao Xian laughed out loud. Her third sister-in-law was really a devoted foodie. Honestly. "And here. I can deal with it here." Yang Xiaoni pursed her lips. "We are making food, they can't stop us." "Okay, then I will deal with the rice." Xiao Xian was totally amused by Yang Xiaoni, and returned to the kitchen. She must not ruin the delicious claypot rice for such people. It would be such a shame. Xiao Meiji got extremely irritated. How dare they ignore her like this? Just wait. Xiao Meiji stood up angrily. "I will tell eldest uncle about this. How can his daughters-in-law be so cruel?" Yang Xiaoni stood up too. She had her hands over her waist. "So what? You are the one who bullied us here. You are married and are not part of our family." Xiao Meiji was shivering. She was so angry. She had never believed that anyone from the first section of the family would ever counter her. In her opinion, these newly-wedded daughters-in-law should be too timid to counter her. Look at Ms. Su, for example. She never dared to say any words to counter her. But she felt so stricken when she was blocked by Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni. Xiao Meiji glared at Yang Xiaoni. "We are leaving now. You too, just wait and see." Yang Xiaoni smiled. "All right then." Xiao Meiji staggered and almost tripped herself. The two sisters had just walked out to the yard, when they smelled something that made them drool. Yang Xiaoni smiled. "Chi, your cousin knows nothing, so she misunderstands us. And cousins, we don't care what kind of daughters-in-law are at your home. But now, you are at our home, and it is none of your business how we live. You are welcome to report us to our parents-in-law when they are back." Xiao Meiji. She became crazy after hearing this. Chapter 467, Willingness. Xiao Meiji thought that if she threatened them, Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Xian would stuff her with good food as a bribe. But they, unexpectedly, countered her. When done with work, Xiao Xian looked at Xiao Meiji. "Cousin, the second and third sections of the family kept forcing us to work for you guys. Do you think that we are the same as before? That is history now. Such behavior will never happen again. It already stopped half a year ago. Second and third uncles are already used to this change, and I believe that you should get used to this too. Stop acting as if you are the host of this house. No one buys that anymore. That is not what happens in any house in the village. If you are not convinced, just try it out. Young Xiaoni snorted. Fifth sister-in-law is right. As the claypot rice was almost ready, she just could not wait and said impatiently, just leave now, we can talk about this tomorrow, we are ready to eat dinner soon. Xiao Meiji was starving but she could not stand what Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Xian said to her. She threw a fierce glare at them, and grabbed Xiao Xiaoji away. Xiao Xiaoqi followed up and shut the door. Xiao Xiaoji licked her lips. Sister, I really want to eat that smoked sausage rice, it smells so good. Xiao Meiji could not help but swallow her saliva. With teeth clenched, she said, we can go home now, and tell eldest uncle tomorrow. She will have to make the food for us. Xiao Xiaoji's eyes sparkled. Yeah, you are so smart, sister, haha. Xiao Meiji was panicking. What Xiao Xian said to her at last was making her feel anxious. She had no way to counter that. It was not a regular practice in the village. But eldest uncle promised to take care of his brothers, and that he would definitely help if his brothers needed him. That was what had been happening all these years. Why did they stop helping them? Her mother said that things changed after the fifth sister-in-law got married. Was she so capable? Xiao Meiji did not believe that. But she thought of her words, and found this woman hard to deal with. Xiaoji, tell me about Ms. Qiao. The two sisters did not look that well when they returned home. Xiao Xiaoji kept telling Ms. Ma that she wanted to eat smoked sausage rice. Ms. Ma did not know what that was, so she ignored her and asked Xiao Meiji instead. How did it go? Ms. Qiao is really arrogant, isn't she? That is how she is like. We are already used to it. You should never get annoyed by her. Xiao Meiji became even angrier. She isn't the only one. Ms. Yang isn't obedient either, and she too. He has turned very unruly. Same goes for my cousin. He even pretended as if I were not around. He did not even show up. In fact, Xiao Yunduan was studying in his yard and had no idea that she had been there. Xiao Xiaoqi had wanted to inform him but was stopped by Xiao Xian. Hearing Xiao Mei's words, Ms. Ma sneered. They are rich now, and you have seen that too. Didn't you see their big house? They are looking down at us, totally. Unconvinced, Xiao Meiji bit her lips. So, the eldest uncle has left us alone? Ms. Ma sneered and sounded furious. No need to mention him. He makes empty promises, but never puts them into practice. Chapter 468. Tomorrow. Xiao Meiji could not help but believe this reluctantly. Otherwise eldest uncle would not have built this house alone. She and her family would have a share in it as well. Seeing Ms. Ma ignoring her, Xiao Xiaoji repeated and said, Mom, make me the smoked sausage rice, I want to eat it. Ms. Ma turned to her daughter. What claypot rice? Xiao Xiaoji said, some rice with a layer of smoked sausage, meat with egg, vegetables and soy sauce. Cousin was making it, and I smelt it. It was so great, but they did not share it with us. Ms. Ma sneered. Your own fault. They are looking down on you. Xiao Xiaoji pursed her lips. We will make eldest uncle tell them to make us the same food. Ms. Ma did not respond and said, then wait until tomorrow. Smoked sausage and meat with egg? Of course it smells good. They are just ruining the food. Xiao Meiji replied. Eldest uncle is not at home, and Ms. Qiao as well as Ms. Yang are wasting food. Eldest aunt will definitely blame them. Please wait until tomorrow and see how they are scolded. Ms. Ma did not think that Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni would be scolded, but she hoped that they would be. So, she added casually. Let's just wait and see. Xiao Xian served the claypot rice on the tray and went with Yang Xiaoni to the dining room, while she fetched Xiao Yunduan to join them for food. Xiao Xian mentioned Xiao Mei's visit while they were all seated. Yang Xiaoni was angry as well. She kept adding to the story. She regretted it. I should not have opened the door for them. Xiao Yunduan smiled. It doesn't matter, they will definitely come here again tomorrow when our parents are here. Yang Xiaoni said, she is definitely the daughter of the third section of the family, just like my own sister-in-law. Xiao Xian laughed. Then please wait until tomorrow. I just can't wait. Food was more important to them. The four of them stopped talking about Xiao Meiji but turned to the delicious food instead. The claypot rice was blended with meat and sauce, giving out a wonderful smell. It was not until after lunch when Miss Fang and Ms. Su as well as the others returned. It was again so lively inside the house. Soon after that, Xiao Xiaoji came over. Eldest uncle, my sister and brother-in-law are all here? My parents are asking eldest uncle to have a chat with them. Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni exchanged a look between themselves. So, they wanted to exaggerate the story behind their backs. But they were going to become the laughing stock after all. Eldest uncle was very happy to see that Xiao Meiji thought of him. He smiled happily. Meiji is back with her husband? All right, I will go to your home and have a chat with them. Miss Fang smiled. Only your eldest uncle is invited, not me? Also, they are junior people in the family. How can they ask seniors to come over? So precious they are. Or they can't walk. If they can't walk, then they don't have to come over here anymore in the future. Xiao Xiaoji did not dare to utter a sound. Miss Fang was right in every word. Eldest uncle coughed and turned to her. You must be thinking too much. They are just asking me to visit them. Miss Fang sneered. Oh really? Then do you remember to tell me whether Meiji is missing you or trying to tell some exaggerated stories to you about her past experience? Xiao Zioda's heart skipped a beat. She felt too ashamed to stay here. Chapter 469. Whole story. She had always been afraid of the eldest aunt, and now she was even more scared of her. Eldest uncle felt a little bit displeased. You just like thinking too much about Miss Fang chuckled. Then, go ahead. Eldest uncle was affected by what Miss Fang said, so he felt quite annoyed, and followed Xiao Xiaoji. Xiao Meiji and her husband were very hospitable towards him, and Xiao Meiji even greeted him happily. But before eldest uncle was able to taste the happiness, Xiao Meiji started to talk about something else. The more the eldest uncle heard about this, the more guilty he felt inside his heart. Miss Fang was totally right. Had it not been for Miss Fang's reminder, what Xiao Meiji said to him might have fooled him. But Miss Fang's words plus what Xiao Meiji said made him realize that Xiao Meiji was trying to make some accusations. Miss Chiao was indeed arrogant, but she never irritated people, unless people irritated her first. And Ms. Yang? She was even less likely to do this. She only wanted food. So, when Meiji said that she went to visit them but was humiliated instead, eldest uncle did not really buy that. He did not speak his doubts in front of Xiao Meiji, but said some vague words to console her. Xiao Meiji felt very proud. She assumed that she had achieved what she wanted. Eldest uncle, you have to get me justice. Eldest uncle was taken aback. What? Oh, okay. Ms. Ma added some complaints of her own, saying that Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni were ruining food at home. Eldest uncle became even more speechless. Ms. Chiao was rich and she always ate what she wanted. She even shared the food with the whole family, so what could he blame her for? But he did not dare to reveal anything like this in front of the third section of the family, otherwise he would sound as if he were showing off. Eldest uncle was actually a very modest person who never liked showing off. But soon, Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Meiji, as well as Xiao Mei's husband Jiang Dai and Ms. Ma followed eldest uncle to his home. Xiao Meiji was waiting to see Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni getting scolded. Unexpectedly, the whole thing turned out quite different. Eldest uncle could not scold his daughter-in-law. Also, he spotted how confident Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni looked, and with Miss Fang's cold eyes, he felt that something was wrong. Sure enough, before he could say a thing, Miss Fang started scolding Xiao Meiji. Meiji, we were not at home yesterday. What were you doing here humiliating my daughters-in-law? What has your mother taught you? Apologize to them now. Xiao Meiji was shocked. She snapped. They are lying. I never did that. Miss Fang sneered. My daughters-in-law never lie. But you have been a liar since childhood. Want me to give you some examples? Also, Qi was here too. Did he lie as well? Xiao Meiji always bullied Tao Tao and Qi and made up stories. Miss Fang had caught her doing so a few times. Xiao Meiji flushed. Ms. Ma said, eldest sister-in-law, Meiji was the guest, and she got angry because Miss Chiao and Ms. Yang did not treat her well. Miss Fang said, oh, so you know you are a guest, an outsider. Then what were you doing at my house? My daughters-in-law did not have to tolerate such behavior. Xiao Mei's husband, Jiang Dai, was dumbfounded. He had no idea what he should do. Xiao Meiji felt so humiliated. She covered her face and sobbed. Eldest aunt, how can you say this? They must have exaggerated the whole thing. You are the one who exaggerates, not them. They always tell the truth. Stop crying here, go to your own house and cry. Stop dreaming. Don't you know now what they are like? Xiao Meiji felt sour, shamed and angry. It was the first time for her to get humiliated by the first section of the family, so she felt worse than ever. She almost could not stand up when she reached home. Chapter 471, Annoyed Mom, is their behavior so over the top now? Ms. Ma sank her face. You saw what happened. They have been like this since some time. Honestly, damn. Then we just ignore them. Saying that, Xiao Meiji got dumbfounded again. The first section of the family was so rich now, and wanted to get rid of them. Ms. Ma added. When your brother becomes an officer, they will not be this arrogant. Also, Xiao Yunduan has been driven out of the college, and he is done for. Really? Tell me more about it. Xiao Meiji instantly got interested. The mother and the daughter exchanged some gossip, and Xiao Meiji felt very glad hearing the bad news. Just wait and see what their future would be like. Xiao Xiaoji was displeased and nagged. Mom, I want to eat smoked sausage rice now. Ms. Ma became annoyed. What smoked sausage rice? You always talk about this. She had thought that when her elder daughter was home, she could make some difference. But she was also ruthlessly driven out by Miss Fang. She was quite upset as she thought about this. Xiao Meiji was greedy for that too. Mom, just make the smoked sausage rice tonight. Looking at them too, Ms. Ma was interested, as she asked strangely. How is that rice made? Can it be so delicious? Xiao Xiaoji pursed her lips. I don't know, but it smelled so nice, and I really want it. But third sister-in-law and fifth sister-in-law did not share any with us. Ms. Ma felt a bit concerned for her daughter, who was never treated like this. Only Tao Tao was. Ms. Ma could not stand it when it was her daughter who was bullied. Okay, we will make smoked sausage rice tonight. They had smoked sausage as well. But it was not very easy to make the one they wished to eat. They had no special pot for claypot rice, so they used the pot for rice cooking. When the rice was almost done, they put some sliced smoked sausage, poured some soy sauce, crushed some garlic and added some vegetables. Xiao Xiaoji wanted an egg, which was turned down by Ms. Ma. Smoked sausage with egg? That was such a waste. But Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Meiji did not think the smell was right, except for the strange smell of the smoked sausage. It seemed totally different. Nonetheless, they still enjoyed the dish. But after that, Ms. Ma said, this is the same as steamed smoked sausage. Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Meiji were both startled. That seemed right. But they started to get really distressed again. They knew that the first section of the family had made a different, fragrant dish. Xiao Meiji felt so irritated when she missed out what she had almost got her hands on. Her parents were right. Eldest uncle had changed too. Mom, where does eldest uncle's family get this much wealth from? Are they doing some business behind our backs? Xiao Meiji's husband and father-in-law were carpenters. They made furniture for people, so Xiao Meiji had some different ideas. Ms. Ma was startled. They have no business to do here. Xiao Meiji said, the house is so big, and the furniture isn't cheap. The glazed windows are really expensive. It's all Ms. Qiao's dowry. That dumb-headed woman. The first section of the family is going to coax her to spend all of her dowry on them soon. Chapter 472, Ms. Fang's Determination, Dowry? That is too much even for someone's dowry. Xiao Meiji did not believe that. Ms. Qiao is a concubine's daughter. No lineal mother would really care about a concubine's daughter that much. I believe that they must have some way of making money. Look at the businessman's family, the concubine's daughter always has a worse life than maids. Oh well. Xiao Meiji believed that her conjecture was right. Mom, you should watch them carefully. Observe what they do. I am sure they have many ways of making money. Ms. Ma thought for a while and nodded. Okay, I will keep an eye on them. It won't be so troublesome. They were in the same village. They would always run into each other. The next day, Xiao Meiji and her husband left. They had intended to just stay one night before leaving. But Xiao Meiji wanted to report Xiao Xian's deeds to eldest uncle when he was back, thus staying for one more day. But the report failed and she felt really annoyed. She did not even say goodbye to eldest uncle when she left. Hearing that the three families were not celebrating New Year together, second uncle and third uncle were really displeased. They rushed to the first section of the family and argued about it. Ms. Fang ignored them and refused to change anything. Eldest uncle wanted to have a lively dinner, but no one in the family supported him. Xiao Sanlang, Xiao Yunduan, Qiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni all said no to his request, and Qi and Tao Tao disapproved of it too. Elder uncle felt really distressed, but there was nothing he could do. Second uncle and third uncle became totally disappointed with eldest uncle, who only talked nice but never did anything in reality. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma kept blaming the first section of the family for this decision, but no family in the village would gather together with their brothers, after their parents were gone. When the three sections of the family gathered to celebrate New Year's, they were just creating a strange scene. Hence, they could not even complain about it to the villagers. They felt so annoyed. But it had been settled that they were not spending the New Year together, ever again. Ms. Niu could not help but blame Ms. Ma. It is your Meiji who caused all of this. But for what she did to the first section of the family, they would not have made this decision. Ms. Ma did not accept this accusation. Eldest sister-in-law has disliked us for a long time. She was going to mention this to us anyway. Meiji has nothing to do with it. Since Ms. Fang and Ms. Su had finished with their visits to their parents' homes, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan visited the Qiao family before the minor New Year. They had some mediocre presents with them and got mediocre reception at the mansion. Officer Qiao did not appear this time to receive them. It was Madame Qiao, Qiao Wei, concubine Du and Qiao Ko who received them. Qiao Wei was also there watching the show. She was really interested in meeting Qiao Xian. Qiao Wei even ordered Lu Yan to serve her. Qiao Xian's face changed as she saw Lu Yan. She lowered her head and said nothing, which made Xiao Wei feel really glad. Qiao Ko added fuel to the fire. Second sister, Lu Yan is your maid, isn't she? Why is she not with you? Qiao Xian was startled, as she staggered. I am not sure. Elder sister has the call. The elder sister could give whatever she wanted. She was arrogant and spoiled, without any manners. Qiao Ko did not understand what Xiao Xian meant. She chuckled and teased. You are right, second sister, elder sister has the call. Chapter 473, Problems. She is the elder sister, after all. Xiao Ko found her to be boring. She chuckled and said, "Second sister, you are so obedient. You obey whatever elder sister tells you to." Xiao Xian said seriously, "We are sisters, and we should listen to each other." Xiao Ko was startled, as she glared at Xiao Xian. "Of course, I am the most obedient one." Xiao Wei was already quite displeased. She snorted and threw a look at Xiao Ko. What was this bitch trying to say? No wonder her mother said that Xiao Xian was not a threat, but this bitch was. She was not going to allow this cheap woman to suck up to any noble family, otherwise there would be trouble. It seemed that her mom was right. Madame Xiao apparently realized that Xiao Ko did not mean anything good. She gave her a cold look. Concubine Du, who had been watching the show, felt her heart tremble. She threw a look at Xiao Ko, telling her to shut up. Lu Yen didn't dare to utter a word but said inwardly, "Stop messing around. Second miss is not as simple as you assume. If you keep on causing trouble, you will really be in trouble." Concubine Du hurriedly spoke up, fearing that Xiao Ko would continue to say something bad. She smiled. "One heard that young Master Xiao has been driven out of Minghua College, is it true? What happened?" Xiao Ko soon got interested and chuckled. "Yeah, what about telling the story of how you were driven out of college? You are not going to attend the imperial examination, without a teacher, right? Should Dad help you?" Xiao Xian threw a look at Xiao Ko, as she turned to Madame Xiao, asking sincerely. "Mom, can Dad really be of some help?" Madame Xiao glanced at Xiao Ko coldly, snorting. "Stop speaking nonsense. College made the decision for a certain reason. The old master is a fair and just officer who will never abuse his power to conduct any personal affairs." "Oh." Xiao Xian looked disappointed. "True. I never expected that. But I thought the third sister was telling me." Xiao Ko got anxious. "Stop the nonsense. That is not what I mean." Xiao Xian sounded weak. "Oh, then I must have been mistaken." Xiao Ko got even more annoyed. "You are definitely mistaken. Drop it now." Madame Xiao got impatient as she snapped. "Just shut your mouth if you don't know how to talk. Stop messing around." Xiao Ko flushed. She threw a grudging look at Xiao Xian. Concubine Du was annoyed too. She kept blaming Xiao Ko for being stupid and for Xiao Xian not being able to talk nicely, which made Madame Xiao misunderstand Xiao Ko. Concubine Du quieted down, rather than laugh at Xiao Xian. Lu Yen lowered her head. She wished to hide herself. She thought to herself. Second miss just puts forward a few casual words and third miss immediately gets set up. She is not as simple as she looks. Noon has ever realized it. All right, you have traveled far to come to this place. Stay for lunch. Madame Xiao stood up and was about to leave. She had no interest in keeping Xiao Xian and her husband company. Xiao Xian replied. "It will get dark soon, so we need to head back. We can keep ourselves warm under the sun. No need for lunch, thanks. Mother, we are leaving now. Say hello to Father for us." Chapter 474. Going home, they were sure that Xiao Yanduan's future had been ruined, and Xiao Xian was never going to get out of the farmer's family. They did not bother to make any effort in being nice. In this case, it saved them a lot of trouble. They would not stop her from leaving, if she wanted to. Sure enough, Madame Xiao ignored them and said, "Any way you like." Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan waved them goodbye and left the mansion. "All right, darling." "Yeah, I am fine." They smiled at each other. "Then, let's go home." "Okay." They walked for over 2 lanes before getting on the donkey cart. Xiao Sanlang was waiting for them at the noodle restaurant close by. He was surprised that they showed up so early. But Xiao Sanlang never pried into the reason for it. He stood up and greeted them, and the three of them went home together. They learned about Yang Liang's visit when they came home. Xiao Sanlang got anxious as she took Yang Xiani's hands. "Honey, he did not bully you, did he?" Yang Xiaoni felt so sweet in heart, as she looked at Xiao Sanlang with love, shaking her head. No, don't worry, Brother Sanlang. We are at our own home, and he could not bully me at all." "That is good." Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of relief, snorting. "Shame on him." Yang Xiaoni added. "Yeah. I ignored him too." "You are right, just ignore him. He must have said something bad to you, but don't think about it. I would be worried. I am happy to have you, Brother Sanlang. I am not annoyed." Haha. Miss Fang could not stand their behavior anymore. She glared at her son. "Just go back to your room for these sweet talks. Stop being in the way." Xiao Xian and the others had already left the site. Xiao Sanlang was confused. "We are not in the way." Miss Fang shouted. "You are. Just go back to your room." Xiao Sanlang had a lot to ask Yang Xiaoni. He found his mother getting really hot-tempered these days, but he did not want to argue with her. So he replied briefly and left with Yang Xiaoni. They continued to talk about this when they went back to their own room. Yang Liang visited Yang Xiaoni because he was thinking about taking Yang Xiaoni back, so they would not be laughed at by people in the village, especially since Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Sanlang refused to pass on any gifts to them. Yang Liang said to Ms. Tian, "Xiaoni is my sister, and I can coax her. She won't be so ruthless. If they come here, you must not scold her any more. Treat her nicely, so they could come and visit us often." Ms. Tian cursed inwardly and said unhappily, all right, I know what to do. You can get her back if you are capable of doing so. She is not as generous as you assume. She holds a deep grudge against you." Yang Liang was annoyed by what she said. His face sank and he asked, "What do you mean? Do you want me to get them here or not?" Miss Tian fell silent. Miss Fang and Yang Xiaoni were both alarmed seeing Yang Liang at the door. He felt so embarrassed. Yang Liang was so jealous looking at the new house of the first section of the family. The first section of the family was leading an increasingly better life. Chapter 475. Her guesses. His sister looked prettier than the last time they met. She was even wearing silver bracelets, with silver hairpins and silk flowers in her hair, looking radiant. That made Yang Liang feel really uncomfortable. He had a strange thought inside his head. Yang Xiaoni turned down Yang Liang's intention. He became really furious when the persuasion did not work. "Xiaomi, isn't it enough? You have vented your anger. Are you trying to deny that I am your brother?" Yang Xiaoni looked at him calmly. "You denied that I was your sister a long time ago. You never treated me like your sister. You didn't even give me any dowry when I got married. I got my wedding gown from my mother-in-law. You forgot all of these?" "I didn't." Yang Liang got even more annoyed. "But you said yes to all of these. Why didn't you oppose the decision? Now you are picking up the old stories?" Yang Xiaoni sneered. "Would that have worked? I did not dare say a thing. What if my wedding was called off because of you and your selfish behavior? If it were not Brother Sanlang I married, but some poor family who never fed me, would you still come and beg me to go home with you?" Yang Liang was startled. He subconsciously did not dare look at Yang Xiaoni. Yang Xiaoni sneered. She felt even colder in heart. This was what she had expected. What was the point of putting on a show? Miss Fang could not help but glance at Yang Xiaoni. Her third son's daughter-in-law might look slow in the head, but she never changed her mind once she made the decision. She was not all that useless. "So, we can be strangers from today on, and part our ways. I won't be jealous of you if you make a fortune, or want a portion of it. Similarly, whether I am living well or not has nothing to do with you either, understand?" Yang Liang felt so embarrassed. But he had no words to counter her. He left the Xiao family in total awkwardness. He had another fight with Ms. Tian when he reached home. Hearing Yang Xiani's words, Xiao Sanlang kept kissing his wife, smiling. "My wife, you were great. You made such a wonderful speech." Yang Xiaoni looked very proud and smiled brightly. "Of course I did." The following day, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Sanlang went to deliver New Year's presents to Master Yun. Master Yun had not taken Xiao Yunduan as the disciple formally. But he still learned a lot from him. He respected him and admired him as a disciple, thus abundant presents were prepared. However, when he returned home in the afternoon, Master Yun and his 3 servants, namely Uncle Yun and Aunt Yun as well as Tsang, came back with him. They were going to spend the new year at his house. Miss Fang and eldest uncle were surprised, but still opened their arms in welcome for them. Xiao Zioki's yard was quite spacious, with 3 wing rooms and 1 main room, as well as 2 smaller affiliated rooms. Master Yun and his group would live there. Qi volunteered to spare the main room for Master Yun, whilst he rolled up his blanket and moved to the east affiliated room. Master Yun stayed in the master bedroom, whilst Uncle Yun and Aunt Yun lived in the western affiliated room. Tsang lived in the segmented room next to Master Yun's. Soon, Uncle Yun sorted the east wing room as study. The Xiao family were quite uneasy facing Master Yun and his people. They were plainly dressed, but they looked different. So, the Xiao family were all quite nervous meeting them. Chapter 476. Proud, but Master Yun was a very easygoing person and good at chatting. He spoke of land and properties with eldest uncle and Ms. Fang, so that both of them felt interested in speaking with Master Yun. Uncle Yun and Aunt Yun were friendly, and Song was a very lively and smiling boy with a sweet tongue. They soon got on well with each other. The family had no idea that Master Yun actually was Xiao Yunduan's teacher. But Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Xian did. So when the teacher was here, he should be treated well. Xiao Xian decided to cook the dinner personally. Miss Su and Yang Xiaoni gave her a hand. They made steamed smoked meat, sausage and a smoked fish platter. They killed a chicken and stewed it with the most delicious and rare mountain mushrooms. They also made steamed pork belly with powder, braised soft-shelled turtle, stir-fried eel with ginger, onion and garlic, steamed mandarin fish, minced meat tofu, stir-fried yam, stir-fry shredded bamboo shoots of tea tree mushrooms, as well as a garlic-fried cabbage. As each dish was cooked and served, Miss Su and Yang Xiaoni were both very proficient with Xiao Xian's pace. But Aunt Yun was shocked. She was quite good at cooking and expected to make the dishes here. It turned out that she did not need to do a thing. At first, Aunt Yun saw Miss Su, Yang Xiaoni happily washing, chopping, cleaning the pot, and lighting the fire, while Xiao Xian was watching from the side. Moreover, they still wanted to ask Xiao Xian about everything, such as how to cut the vegetables, and other things. This made Aunt Yun even more puzzled. But Xiao Xian was better at cooking the actual dishes. The dishes were far superior to the ones made by hers. When the dinner was served, Master Yun ate with everyone from the first section of the family. Aunt Yun and Uncle Yun as well as Tsang were not at the table, but they got some portions from each dish and ate at the small, square desk in the kitchen. Xiao Xian said to them, "Uncle Yun and Aunt Yun, just eat the food. My husband is attending Master Yun." Master Yun was not a particular man. So, both Uncle Yun and Aunt Yun nodded and accepted the offer. Miss Fang and eldest uncle invited Master Yun to take the seat. Master Yun could not help but sigh seeing the table filled with dishes. This is such a waste of food. Only a dish of smoked sausage, vegetables and tofu should be enough. It must have cost a lot. Miss Fang smiled. It's very nice of you to say so. These fish were all caught in the river and kept in the pond in the backyard of our house for free. This chicken is also raised at home. We have a lot of chickens at home. I also made a lot of sausages and smoked meat, about 100 kilograms. You would never be able to finish it. My daughter-in-law, Miss Chiao, cooked this meal. She is really good at making food. Try it please. The whole family asked Master Yun to take the seat. Master Yun was surprised. He had thought that his servant, Aunt Yun, made all this. So, it was not her? But hearing what Miss Fang said, he felt relaxed and smiled. Okay, I will try everything. You are living a great life here. How wonderful. Miss Fang was proud. Yeah. My sons and daughters-in-law are all very capable people. Master Yun nodded with a smile. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Miss Fang felt even prouder. Yes. Miss Fang was very easy to get on well with. She was very straightforward. Xiao Xian cooked for Master Yun every day. She tried her best to serve Master Yun some good dishes. Chapter 477, New Year's Eve Translator. Henny translations. Firstly, she was showing respect to the teacher, and also, she wanted Master Yun to see that they were very sincere so Master Yun could accept Xiao Yunduan as the disciple formally. Master Yun spoke highly of her cooking skills. He had been to many places, and Xiao Xian served different cuisines, some of which he had tasted before and some not. Hearing that Xiao Xian was the daughter of the county magistrate and learned the cooking skills from books, he could not help but feel emotional. How blind was the county magistrate to have ignored such a wonderful daughter. When Master Yun was well fed, he spent more effort in imparting knowledge to Xiao Yunduan. He was having a very leisure time living with the first section of the family. Soon, the news that guests were visiting the first section of the family spread in the village, but it was not discussed for too long. The first section of the family was different from the other families. It was quite normal these days that they had guests. Seeing that it was an elderly man who was the visitor, the second and third section of the family lost interest. But they kept mumbling to themselves, blaming them for being turned away whilst strangers were accepted. The New Year's Eve arrived soon after Minor New Year. It was very lively in the whole village on New Year's Eve. Every household started to post Spring Festival couplets and window paper cuts in the morning. Those who were more particular would hang 2 pairs of red lanterns under the eaves to watch the festival. The first section of the family was going to spend the new year in the new house, and everyone was glad about it. They had got everything, the couplets, the character of happiness, window paper cuts as well as red lanterns under the eaves. The whole house looked really lively. Tao Tao and Chi put on new clothes and shoes, with pockets full of melon seeds, peanuts, pine nuts, almonds and so on, playing with children in the village. They cheered happily and set firecrackers, making the whole village look even more flourishing. Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling also had new clothes made. When they went out to hang out with friends, they ran into Tao Tao and Chi, who had their brother with them too. Tao Tao was wearing a rose-red dress, embroidered with begonia flowers on the side, a circle of fluffy snow-white rabbit fur around the neckline and cuffs, a light pink skirt and thick buckskin boots, which made the girl look very beautiful. The material of the dress was not satin, but it was better than ordinary muslin, and the workmanship of the clothes was more delicate and meticulous. It made her stand out in the crowd of friends without being too obtrusive. Still, Tao Tao caused much envy from her peers, since she was already a good-looking girl from birth. She had many snacks and shared them with friends generously, and many children loved hanging out with her. Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling had been quite happy in their new clothes, but their faces turned dark when they saw Tao Tao. Tao Tao was never as good as them, and she only got what they had left. But things are different now. The 2 sisters felt sour in heart. They could have ripped Tao Tao of the silk flowers and hairpin flowers as well as snacks in the past, and they would have pestered eldest uncle to share the clothes with them too. But they did not dare to do anything like that now. Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling kept mocking Tao Tao and tried to turn others against her. But Tao Tao had many snacks and was very generous, so she attracted many fellows to her side, which made Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling really displeased. They found the whole thing going against them, and hence decided to go home with their faces sunk. Chapter 478. Opinions. Xiao Miling was slightly older and had just gotten engaged. She did not dare to make a scene, thus crying to herself. Xiao Xiaoji almost burst into tears seeing Ms. Ma. Tao Tao bullied me. Ms. Ma had not been really happy when she heard about killing a chicken for New Year's dinner. Now, she became really angry. How did she bully you? Tell me. Even Tao Tao has changed. Normally, all they needed to do was to eat at the first section of the family every year rather than take care of everything, which saved them a lot of trouble. But right now, they have to do everything by themselves. She wanted a reason to vent the accumulated anger. Xiao Xiaoji got startled hearing what her mother said. She stumbled with her words, not daring to say a thing. Her mother got even more irritated by her hesitation, so she dashed off into the room. Ms. Ma mumbled. Serve you right to have been bullied, so timid and weak. But after thinking about this for a while, she did not go to the doorstep of the first section of the family to fight. After New Year's Eve, they visited relatives rather than farm the land. The whole village had a very relaxed air around. There were many people visiting the first section of the family. Miss Fang and her daughters-in-law received them one by one. Miss Fang and Ms. Zu's mother's family, Ding Erza's in-laws as well as Miss Fang's married elder sister etc. They were all here. Even Xiao Dali as well as a few other families from the same village came to visit them. Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni as well as Miss Su received the guests every day. They were very busy. Luckily, the new house was spacious enough for the relatives to stay, and Xiao Yunduan was not affected when he needed to study. After the new year, the autumn examination date was approaching. But on the 6th day of the new year, Miss Su suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. She turned pale and vomited. She knew what was happening. Miss Fang asked a doctor to feel the pulse, and it was revealed that Miss Su had been pregnant for 2 months. The whole family cheered happily. Xiao Dalang felt happier since he was going to be a father again. Miss Fang asked Miss Su to take a good rest instead of working in the field. She could do some light work like feeding the chicken and sweeping the floor. The 4-year-old Xiao Qing should not be next to her either, in case her stomach was kicked accidentally by the child. Xiao Xian offered some cubulos and donkey hide gelatin to Miss Su as supplementary food. Miss Su was quite pleased. She had one son and she did not care if it was a girl or a boy that was yet to come. Most importantly, they were living a very good life these days, and the child knew how to choose a family. She or he would be a very happy child anyway. Yang Xiaoni massaged her sunk belly and got a little worried. She turned to Xiao Sanlang and said some bitter words, meaning that the elder sister-in-law was already pregnant with the 3rd child, whilst she had not got pregnant at all after being married for so long. She wondered if their mother would not like it. Xiao Sanlang could tell that his wife was very worried about this. He said anxiously, "It is not your fault. I should take responsibility too. You can't get pregnant by yourself." Yang Xiaoni flushed. "I am talking about serious business here. You are just making those indecent remarks." Xiao Sanlang. "What? Why indecent? Mom won't blame you for that. Don't worry about this." Xiao Sanlang consoled Yang Xiaoni. He thought for a while and turned to look at his mother instead. Chapter 479. Miss Fang's laughter. He was going to tell his mother not to give them too much pressure in pushing them to give birth to a baby. Miss Fang almost laughed. She poked him straight on the forehead. "I don't intend to put you under any pressure, okay? You have only been married for a few months. Also, Ms. Yang did not have a good time back at her own home, and it is not that good to get pregnant now. You should make sure she lives well and becomes healthier, so she can be pregnant then." "Oh, true." Xiao Sanlang's eyes brightened, as he smiled. "I never thought about this before. Mom, you are so considerate." Miss Fang glared at him. "Now you understand? Then, get lost from here. So irritating that my brainless son is wandering in front of me." Xiao Sanlang did not care when he was scolded. He chuckled and went to tell his wife this good news. Miss Fang thought for a while. She was worried that Miss Chiao would be worried about this issue too, when she saw Miss Su getting pregnant. So, Miss Fang automatically consoled Xiao Xian, telling her not to get worried about getting pregnant now, especially since Xiao Yunduan was in the middle of preparing for the imperial examination. She kept insisting that they should not have a child so soon, and they could wait for a couple of more years, and such. Xiao Xian flushed after hearing that. She nodded with a small chuckle. She felt a bit moved, but embarrassed too. Actually, she never thought about pregnancy just because her elder sister-in-law got pregnant again. She had not even slept with Xiao Yunduan at this point. Nor had she thought about getting pregnant. As a result, she never related Ms. Zu's pregnancy to hers. But when her mother-in-law mentioned it, she was reminded that she might need to get pregnant and become a mother someday, since she was Xiao Yunduan's wife, after all. Luckily, her mother-in-law was open-minded, and she could leave this matter to the future. On the 10th day of the new year, Master Yun and his servants left the first section of the family and returned home. Xiao Yunduan and Ms. Fang could not make them stay longer. So, they had to give it up. Xiao Yunduan accompanied them personally, and sent abundant local things to them. Master Yun liked their smoked sausage and meat, salted eggs and preserved eggs, dried bamboo and mushrooms, etc. So he accepted them all, without turning down the offer. On the 12th day of the new year, Xiao Silang from the second section of the family was getting married. Ms. Niu and second uncle had a good idea. They wanted Qi to hunt a wild boar so that the banquet would look good, and also, they would not have to buy any meat themselves. Ms. Fang laughed. They were telling Qi to hunt wild boars so their son's wedding could look good? Wild boars were very dangerous animals and they could not be hunted just on someone's whim and fancy. Miss Fang turned them down, which displeased second uncle and Ms. Niu. When the wedding day came, Miss Fang took Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao to offer help, whilst Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Yunduan as well as Qi all went to greet the bride. Ms. Su was pregnant so she did not go to help. She would just visit when the bride arrived. She should stay at home in case she bumped into something. Miss Fang did not want Xiao Xian to go there either. She asked her to stay at home to look after Ms. Su and not do any labor work. Ms. Niu had wanted Xiao Xian to offer help, because she was county magistrate's daughter, which would lift up their family's reputation. But there was nothing she could do, when Miss Fang refused to bring her along. Ms. Zhang sneered. Elder sister-in-law is pregnant with the third child and she is getting more precious than before. She needs to be taken care of specially by someone at home. Chapter 480, Annoyance. Ms. Fang snorted. True. We are living a different life now, and of course she is more precious than before. We are going to get compensation for what we lost in the past. Ms. Zhang choked on her words and veins popped up on her forehead. What they had lost in the past. Yeah, the first section of the family was bullied by the second and third section of the family in the past, and they never had a relaxed time. So, of course they were not considered precious in the past. Unconvinced, she pretended to smile calmly. Tao Tao is enough to take care of her elder sister-in-law, right? Why fifth sister-in-law? I am afraid that you are favoring her more. You don't want her to get tired. Miss Fang never liked Ms. Zhang. When she was turned down after she tried to borrow money from her, she had never acted normally whenever they ran into each other. Ms. Zhang always picked the worst words to speak. Miss Fang had never wanted to pick on someone junior in the family, but this junior kept offending her, and she was really starting to get irritated. Also, Ms. Fang was not a good-tempered person to begin with. So, she snapped. True. Of course I have a preference, and it is up to me, the mother-in-law. Anyone dares to counter my preference? I think your mother-in-law is the same. She gave 15 liang as a wedding gift to the Yen family, just hoping that their daughter could come to your family. She even built 2 new rooms for them. Second niece, honestly, don't be mad. The Yen family is running a tofu business and should be quite rich. I heard that they had a large dowry prepared as well. The girl from the Yen family should be quite capable. I am sure your mother-in-law has her preference as well. Ms. Zhang was trembling. She almost could not breathe. Miss Fang sneered and turned around, leaving arrogantly. How dare this young woman try to play tricks on her? As the drum was played and the whole place turned bustling, the bride was officially married to the family. Ms. Zhang did not like any of this, especially the redness. Yang Xiaoni and Ms. Fang did not return home until that evening. Qiao Xian and Tao Tao boiled some water at home, so the hall room was filled with a warm coal basin. They even had some water prepared. They regained energy after drinking the hot tea, warmed up in front of the fire and finally relaxed. The wedding was not as good as that of the first section of the family, and those who were there to help had no time to eat anything during the wedding. They were only allowed to eat the leftovers after the banquet was over. But there were no leftovers remaining as well. The leftovers were all taken away by Ms. Niu, so Miss Fang had almost no meat to eat. Anyways, they had been so well fed during the Chinese New Year, so she desired something light. Chapter 481. The generous Ms. Yen Xiao Xian finally understood why the Yen family wished to marry their daughter to Xiao Silang, when she was already 20 years old. The Yen family was slightly wealthy and loved the daughter. So, they were quite particular when it came to son-in-laws. But Ms. Yen looked really ordinary, and the Yen family were not incomparably rich. Since the Yen family was particular about their son-in-law, she was not married until 20 years old. That was when the Yen family got so anxious. The Yen family would never have wanted to marry their daughter to people like the second section of the family. But things were different. Seeing that the second section of the family was offering 15 liang as a wedding gift, the Yen family approved of the marriage. Otherwise their daughter would become an old spinster. Xiao Silang was just lucky. Ms. Yen served the senior people in the family tea, whilst Xiao Xian, Qi, and Tao Tao were waiting for her to address them differently after seeing the presents. What surprised them most of all was that Ms. Yen had prepared presents for Qi, Tao Tao, Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Qing. Tao Tao and Xiao Qing were given a pair of pink silk flowers whilst Qi and Xiao Zhenyan were given a purse of sapphire-colored flowers each. The whole first section of the family got shocked. Their eyes were widened. The second section of the family was so stingy that they had never received presents from them. Ms. Yan's actions shocked them all. Even Ms. Su tried to turn down the present, but thanked Ms. Yen for her kindness. Tao Tao and Qi kept pushing the presents away. No, thanks. Ms. Niu looked surprised too. Apparently, that was Ms. Yan's own idea, which had not been shared with Ms. Niu. Ms. Niu took the opportunity and smiled. Ms. Yen, they don't lack any of these things, just take them back. Mom, these are my wishes for them. I am not taking them back. Ms. Yen smiled. She sounded gentle but had a very firm attitude. Cousin, Tao Tao and Qi, accept them. Are you all looking down at my presents? They all hesitated and turned to Miss Fang for help. Miss Fang smiled. Just accept the kindness from Ms. Yen. So they did. Ms. Niu was not very pleased. But she could not teach her newly wedded daughter-in-law a lesson in front of others. So she had to drop it. After they left, Qi and Ms. Su opened the purses and found that there were 8 pennies inside each of them. They were even more surprised. Is she a little too generous? Although the first section of the family did not think that 8 pennies was a lot, yet for villagers, that was already a huge amount. Miss Fang smiled. Just accept it. Ms. Yen seems nice. Ms. Yen must have heard of the relationship between the 3 sections of the family, but she still did so. It also seemed that Ms. Niu had no idea about this. Apparently, Ms. Yen had the intention of befriending the first section of the family. Ms. Fang did not think that it was something bad. As long as Ms. Yen did not do anything against them. If she did, she would teach her a lesson too. Honestly, if Ms. Yen dared to be calculative towards the first section of the family, she would end up in a bad situation. Back home, Ms. Niu wasn't that pleased. But she still avoided Ms. Zhang and said to the newlyweds, Ms. Yan, why did you offer them so many presents? Such a waste. Chapter 482, Disrespect. Ms. Yan smiled. Mom, they are our relatives, the eldest uncle's family. It is always better to have a good relationship than hold a grudge, right? That wasn't too much for me. Also, Silang approved of it, too. Ms. Yan did not tell Ms. Niu about this, but she discussed it with her husband. Xiao Silang had not wanted to do so. But Ms. Yan intentionally whispered something sweet and warm to Xiao Silang, who turned totally dumb and nodded in the end. Ms. Niu glared at Xiao Silang, while her anger towards Ms. Yan disappeared. Well, Xiao Silang scratched his head. He did not know how to explain it to his mother. Ms. Yan smiled. Mom, my husband expects to have a good relationship between the two families too, right? Everything is fine. Let's just drop it. Ms. Niu snorted and warned Xiao Silang. Watch out in the future. We can drop it for now. What else could they do, since the presents were already given away? Ms. Yan smiled and started another topic. She was now officially a member of the Xiao family. Ms. Yan and Xiao Sanlang returned to her mother's home after 3 days of the wedding. Ms. Niu was stingy and did not offer much as return presents. She only gave her 2 chickens, 2 rolls of cheap tea, which almost killed her. Ms. Yan was very displeased inside her head, but said nothing. Instead, she and Xiao Silang went into the town and bought 2 jars of wine, 3 kgs of noodles, 1 kg of pastry and 3 kgs of pork belly. Then, Ms. Yan said in a wrongful tone to her husband, Mom has given us so little. It is such a humiliation for us. You are the son-in-law, what would my family think of you? I am helping you keep up the reputation. We are a couple, right? I am earning your reputation for your sake. Xiao Silang felt both guilty and moved, without knowing what to say. He was now totally on Ms. Yan's side. Ms. Yan added a few more sentences so he felt even more inclined towards her. Ms. Yan was satisfied and smiled. Since we have added things on our own to the return presents, don't tell parents about this. Otherwise Mom will blame me again. Xiao Silang shook his head. Yeah, we must keep it a secret. Don't worry, I won't tell. He knew clearly what his mother was like. That made Ms. Yan feel even more happy. She was not trying to start a war with her mother-in-law, but she really could not respect her mother-in-law. She was married to Xiao Silang, and expected to live a peaceful life. She did not care about what others thought, but Xiao Silang had to take her side and obey her words. She was quite surprised about the terrible relationship between the second section of the family and the first section of the family, which she found out recently. Luckily, Xiao Silang had not offended the first section of the family like his parents. So, she could come up with some solutions to improve the relationship. She really thought that the second section of the family and third section of the family were stupid. They could take advantage of the first section of the family in the past, but henceforth, they needed to stay humble and try to have a good relationship with the first section of the family. They needed to be capable enough to counter them, but they had no abilities. They did not want to admit their foolishness, either. Instead, they kept causing trouble for themselves. So horrible. She did not care about the third section of the family, and she did not care what the second section of the family wanted. But they should not stop her from doing whatever she wanted to do. Otherwise, she would separate herself from the family. She was from a capable family like the Yan family, who should not be offended easily. Chapter 483, Unwillingness. The Yan family had finally married off their daughter. When she visited her family, the Yan family looked forward to seeing her again. Her mother swept her into her arms, crying and touching her face. You have lost weight. Ms. Yan's father, however, got really pleased seeing them come home with so many presents. He patted Xiao Silang's shoulders, smiling. You are just too polite. We are a family and you don't have to give us so many presents. But I am still glad that you have many gifts with you today. It means that you think my daughter is important. What matters above all is that you live a great life. You don't have to bring so many presents next time, remember? The two sons of the Yen family all nodded in agreement, smiling brightly. Xiao Silang smiled back, wiping the sweat drops on his forehead. It was all because his wife fixed it for him. She bought the presents with her own money so that he would not be humiliated or scolded by his father-in-law and brothers-in-law. Xiao Silang now was completely subdued by his wife. His wife treated him so well. The three men of the Yen family were talking with Xiao Silang whilst Ms. Yen and her mother exchanged a few private words. Hearing that Ms. Yen was living a good life at the Xiao family, everyone smiled. The family had prepared a delicious lunch for them, including stewed chicken, stewed mutton, and pork belly with tofu. They even bought some braised fish from the restaurant and opened a jar of vintage wine just to receive their son-in-law. Xiao Silang felt so glad. He had never been treated so well by anyone before. He almost cheered loud in happiness when he realized that the dishes were prepared for him only. During lunchtime, the Yen family kept telling him to treat Ms. Yen well. Xiao Silang clapped his chest, making many promises. His wife treated him so well, and he was definitely going to treat her well, too. On their way home, the Yen family gave them abundant presents as well, including 2 ducks, 4 pieces of smoked meat, 4 strings of smoked sausage, 2 bags of peanut candies, sesame candies, as well as 2 roasted chicken from the town. Ms. Yen loved roasted chickens and they had been bought especially for her. Since they were into the tofu business, they had prepared 2 stacks of tofu for them to take home as well. It was tender and snow-white tofu with gauze on the top, carefully placed in each grid, easy for them to carry home. The Yen family used the best beans to make the tofu and they had a reputation in the territory. Many tofu stores and restaurants ordered their tofu from them. The Yen family saw the couple off at the entrance of the village. Ms. Yan's mother almost cried seeing her daughter leaving, which also drove Ms. Yen to shed tears as well. They were not separated until a long while later. Xiao Silang felt so stressed. He wiped his sweat and said, "Mother-in-law treats you so well." Ms. Yen smiled. "They all treat me well. I feel very unhappy to leave them." Xiao Silang smiled. "But we don't live so far apart. You can come back whenever you want, to visit them." Ms. Yen smiled and said nothing back. She would not be able to come back whenever she wanted, since she was already married. Ms. Niu was really glad to see so many things brought back. She kept asking Ms. Yen, "Are you tired? Why don't you take a break?" Then, she asked Xiao Miling to pour tea for her. Chapter 484, No trouble. Her daughter-in-law was not as good as Miss Chiao, but much better than most of the daughters-in-law in the village. The Yen family was very wealthy. Look what they had sent back. Ms. Zhang felt sour, annoyed and jealous seeing Ms. Niu smiling at Ms. Yen so gently. She was rich, so what? But for the money, no one would want to marry someone with looks like hers. What was she so proud about? Her mother-in-law didn't like her, she liked her money. Ms. Zhang felt that the world was unfair, especially when both Ms. Yen and Ms. Chiao were favored because of their money. Ms. Yen soon cut a few slices of fresh tofu. Along with a roast chicken, she delivered them to the first section of the family. "Eldest aunt, I brought these back from my mother's home. Please, have a taste. Don't look down at them. Oh well. You can save them for yourself. I accept your kindness." Miss Fang was startled. Ms. Yen was being too generous. Ms. Niu and the family would cause a scene when they learned about this. Miss Fang did not want any trouble. After all, her family did not lack any food for the time being. Ms. Yen put down the stuff and smiled. "Please, eldest aunt, you are making me feel really guilty. Before I got married, I heard that you are kind, affable and straightforward. So, I respect you a lot. I am just showing my admiration towards you." Having said that, Ms. Yen left. Ms. Fang commented lightly. Silang's wife isn't simple in mind. She smiled and sighed, saying nothing more. She understood what Ms. Yen meant. She had learned something about the relationship between the first section of the family and the second section of the family before she got married. But even if that was the case, she still respected the first section of the family. Ms. Fang was in a good mood. But she could not help but feel curious. What would the second section of the family do if they learned the truth? Ms. Fang put away the stuff and made up her mind. If Ms. Niu came to ask them back, she was going to return them intact. If Ms. Niu did not show up, then it meant that Ms. Yen had convinced her, which made Ms. Yen seem even more capable. Ms. Fang did not think Ms. Yen would be able to conceal it from Ms. Niu. They were living together, and they would not be able to hide a secret like this. Tofu was small. But Ms. Niu could not have skipped the roasted chicken. Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Xian were both surprised when they found out about this. Yang Xiaoni's eyes were widened. Fourth sister-in-law knows how to maintain relations with people. But will the second aunt forgive her for this? Xiao Xian smiled. Well, the Yen family is rich and she is loved by her family. I guess she has her support. Ms. Fang glanced at them and said, "What do you think of her?" Yang Xiaoni immediately reacted. She is very generous. Xiao Xian understood what her mother-in-law meant. How should they keep the relationship with her? She thought for a while and smiled. "Mom, we can wait and see. Time will tell if she is pretending or is really so generous. You can't hide your true nature forever. If she is worth associating with, then we can definitely maintain relations with her. Otherwise, we don't need to care about it." Ms. Fang clapped her hands. Exactly what I am thinking. Yang Xiaoni. What were they talking about? She did not get it. Ms. Niu noticed the missing roasted chicken and asked her about it. Ms. Yen never thought about concealing her actions from Ms. Niu. Chapter 485, Speechless Sure Enough. The questioning came faster than she expected. Ms. Yen was asked immediately when she returned. "Ms. Yen, where is the roasted chicken? Why is it missing?" Ms. Yen smiled and replied calmly. "Oh, I just visited eldest aunt and gave her some tofu and roasted chicken. I also gave the third aunt some tofu and meat." "What?" Ms. Niu screamed. "You gave them one whole roasted chicken and meat?" Ms. Yen really hated her when she behaved like this. But she put on a calm look and smiled. "Yes. Eldest aunt helped us before and I am just paying them back. We are relatives. We should interact with each other sincerely. Isn't that right, second sister-in-law?" Ms. Zhang sneered. Hearing that Ms. Yen was seeking confirmation from her, she thought that Ms. Yen was dragging her down so they could bear the vented anger from their mother-in-law together. She was not going to do that. Ms. Zhang defended herself instantly. "Fourth sister-in-law, you are wrong. The first section of the family is stingy and treats us badly. They don't share their money with us. We are not cordial with each other any longer. But you delivered food to them? That is a big mistake." Ms. Niu nodded and was about to say something, when Ms. Yen interrupted. "You are wrong, second sister-in-law. Eldest aunt and uncle helped us a lot in the past, which was seen by the whole village. How can you say such things about them?" Ms. Zhang sneered. "You also know that it was in the past." Ms. Yen. Favor is a favor. The first section of the family has their life to spend, and we are also a family where everyone is healthy. We can do everything ourselves too. If they want to offer some help, that is kind of them. If they don't want to, that is totally alright as well. After all, they don't owe us anything, right? We are cousins with the same grandparents, isn't it good to be together? If you keep relying on them for help and want them to work for us for free, nobody would offer the help constantly. Honestly, second sister-in-law, do you want to work for the first section of the family without payment? Ms. Zhang felt that Ms. Yen was mocking her. She snapped. You know nothing as a newly wedded bride. I was giving you some insights, but now you are trying to teach me a lesson. You should know what our family is like, else you can ask Mom about it. Ms. Yen said, Mom talks sensibly and logically. I may not know about our family, but this is a principle that doesn't change irrespective of the people. Ms. Zhang sneered. Speak with Mom about this then. Ms. Knight. Ms. Niu opened her mouth but felt a little bit too embarrassed to say anything. Ms. Yen, you don't know anything about family affairs. Anyways, let's just drop it this time. Ask me next time before you act, okay? When your grandparents-in-law passed away, your eldest uncle promised to help us. He can't just ignore the promise. That is their fault if they break the promise. Look at the house they have now, how wonderful. They ignore us when they have money. That won't work. Ms. Yen. She was speechless. Whatever she said just now did not have any impact. How should they expect the first section of the family to take care of them? They had their own grandchildren already. Ms. Yen did not answer Ms. Niu directly but smiled. Mom, don't worry. I only do things which I think I should do. We should be sensible, right? Chapter 486, Instigation about Dowry. Ms. Niu thought that she had agreed to what she instructed. So, she nodded and said, let's eat dinner. Ms. Zhang, what are you waiting for? Go and prepare dinner. Ms. Zhang was completely annoyed. Ms. Yen was the newly wedded daughter-in-law and she should work, not her. Ms. Zhang sneaked a glance at Ms. Yen, indicating that she should offer to make dinner. If Ms. Yen understood the rules, she would take over now. But Ms. Yen ignored her glance and greeted Ms. Niu before heading back to her room. Ms. Niu scolded Ms. Zhang for not complying with her wishes. Ms. Zhang lowered her head and left angrily. She cursed Ms. Yen inside her heart. Ms. Yen had made up her mind to hang out with the first section of the family. When she was not that busy, she would visit the first section of the family whenever she had time. Ms. Niu did not like it at the beginning, but Ms. Yen said that she was a newly wedded daughter-in-law who should hang out with neighbors and relatives. She said that she could even try to see what the first section of the family was busy with. Maybe they could learn about how to make a fortune. Ms. Niu felt that her words made sense. So, she ignored her visits after that. Ms. Yen was good with needles and threads. Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni were both bad at it. So was Ms. Chiao, who could not even make the sauls. Ms. Fang spoke highly of Ms. Yan's skills of needles and threads, to which Ms. Yen smiled modestly, and offered that she could teach Tao Tao. Ms. Fang was happy about it. She accepted the offer readily. In this way, Ms. Yen spent even more time at the first section of the family's home. For days, Ms. Yen was having a good time with the first section of the family, and Tao Tao improved a lot under her guidance. She liked this patient and gentle cousin-in-law. Ms. Su was a little defensive, but she did not think this girl was up to anything bad. Xiao Xian and Ms. Fang felt that Ms. Yen seemed to be a little different from the others in the second section of the family. Ms. Fang sighed. Silang was an all-right husband. But Ms. Niu and the second son of the family were really annoying. She wondered if Ms. Yen could tolerate living with them for long. Though it seemed that Ms. Niu could not control her, which Ms. Fang found to be strange. Ms. Yen taught Tao Tao how to work the needles and threads, so Ms. Fang asked her to stay for lunch. Ms. Yen had turned down the offer in the beginning, but started staying back later on. The food served at the first section of the family was much better than that at the second section of the family. Even a single dish of cooked vegetables had a lot of taste, which made Ms. Yen feel so jealous. Yang Xiaoni was bad at needles and threads, but the materials used by her were excellent. Tao Tao had many things with her, which made Ms. Yen feel even more envious. She swore to herself that she was going to live a better life. One day when Ms. Yen returned home, she heard her second sister-in-law whispering to her mother-in-law. She leaned forward and tried to hear the conversation. After a while, she frowned and got really furious. Ms. Zhang, that bitch, was trying to make her mother-in-law take away her dowry. She knew what kind of family Ms. Zhang was from. Ms. Yen, who grew up in a family filled with love, just did not understand how a man could be so useless that he had to be supported by his married sisters. In her opinion, a man should be able to support the whole family, protect his parents, his wife and siblings. Girls should not have to do anything like this. They should just have fun. Chapter 487. Uncomfortable. She had felt sorry for Ms. Zhang early on and looked down upon Ms. Zhang's brother. But after she came to this place, Ms. Zhang was very hostile towards her, so she decided not to befriend her. Since she hated her, why must she suck up to her? She would just stay away from her. After the senior people in the family were gone, they were going to live separately and all they needed to do was to act politely when seeing each other. But Ms. Zhang was so terrible. She even tried to instigate mother-in-law to use her dowry. Her dowry was not as generous as that of some nobly born lady. But her parents and brothers adored her and had given her a lot of things. She had 2 sets of silver pieces, 20 sets of garments as well as other things and 30 liang in the bottom of the box. None of these could be moved or used easily. Ms. Yen clenched her teeth and left quietly. She did not go to the first section of the family. Instead, she made a big fuss sorting her dowry, intentionally drawing the attention of Ms. Zhang and Ms. Niu. Ms. Zhang felt so sour and sneered, with a mocking smile on her face. You have got a lot of dowry, haven't you? Very lucky. Then, she started to mutter inside her head, thinking that none of these would belong to her soon. She did not like it when the dowry would reach their mother-in-law. But Ms. Zhang would still be happy that Ms. Yen would have nothing left. These words were exactly what Ms. Yen was waiting for. As long as she mentioned the word dowry, Ms. Yen had the way to continue with the story. Ms. Yen smiled insincerely. My parents prepared the dowry for me. My mother said that dowry is the biggest guarantee for married girls, and that everything in a girl's dowry box should be neatly put away and not be used unless the whole family is starving. I was not very good at sorting things when I was at my parents' home. But now I have arranged it finally. My mom says that she will come to check my dowry every now and then. If she finds out that my stuff is not well sorted or kept well as she told me, she is going to discipline me. My mom is really fierce. I have to obey her. Ms. Niu suddenly turned really uncomfortable. Ms. Zhang felt that something weird was going on. She thought that Ms. Yen was referring to her, but she could not prove it. Before she could say anything, Ms. Yen smiled at her. Second sister-in-law, can I ask you how to sort the dowry well? How do you keep your dowry? Should I put things in separate boxes and move them out every now and then and check if there are bugs or anything? Second sister-in-law, tell me some good methods, so that I can learn, too. Ms. Zhang's face changed. She had no dowry. The rags she had were all delivered to the tailor and she had nothing left. Ms. Niu looked even more uncomfortable. Ms. Zhang had no words to say when Ms. Niu's face became ugly. Moreover, it would be very strange if she tried to get involved with Ms. Yan's dowry discussion. Ms. Niu knew pretty well how the Yen family loved Ms. Yen as their daughter. She had also made the promise of adoring her, which was why the Yen family decided to marry her to their family. The Yen family could not be offended easily. Also, Ms. Yen looked like someone with ideas, too. What if Ms. Yan's mother really checked her dowry when she came over and found that something was missing? Things would be really horrible at that time. Chapter 488. Your intention. Ms. Yen sneered inwardly, but showed no expression on her face. She smiled apologetically and went to sort her dowry boxes. Ms. Zhang was so angry. She snapped. I have no dowry and I have nothing to give Mom. But you are different, fourth sister-in-law. You are trying to shut Mom up. You are so stingy. Look at the fifth sister-in-law. She offers her things to cousins and eldest aunt all the time. Just shut up. Ms. Nyo snapped. You also know that you have nothing to give me, right? I have never asked you to. As long as you don't move stuff to your family, I would be assured. Ms. Nyo suddenly realized that even though Ms. Yen did not offer her dowry, she would at least not take things to her own family. The Yen family were very generous in giving out stuff, and they would benefit more in the future. She did not have to eye her daughter-in-law's dowry now. They could talk about this in the future. Like she said, she would offer it when their family ran into problems. Ms. Zhang, who had tried to irritate Ms. Yen, got lectured by Ms. Nyo instead. She felt furious but could not counter her. So she nodded timidly. Ms. Zhang went to the garden to pick vegetables, and Ms. Yen followed behind, smiling at her. Hello, second sister-in-law. Ms. Zhang was startled. She clapped her chest to calm herself down. She glared at Ms. Yen, and responded sarcastically. You are here, fourth sister-in-law. What are you doing here? Mom gives me so much work to do, but nothing to you. Did you find that unfair, so you came to help me share the burden? Ms. Yen smiled. Mom has her own reasons to arrange our workloads. You can speak with her if you are not happy about it. There is no point in talking about it with me. It is not up to you to judge whether I work or not. I don't think I am doing anything wrong. Ms. Zhang did get much more work to do as per Ms. Nyo's arrangement. But Ms. Yen was not idling around either. The Yen family loved their daughter, but they had raised her well. That was why the Yen family did not marry her off earlier. They thought that she was very nice and smart. Ms. Yen did not think that Ms. Nyo was wrong in getting her to do extra work, since Ms. Zhang kept thinking about stealing stuff from her husband's home and giving them to her own home. Ms. Zhang turned furious, and threw the basket on the floor. She said coldly, What do you want, Yen Jiao? That is my question to you, second sister-in-law. Ms. Yan's smile faded. Her face turned cold and she said, I have just got married and never offended you. Why are you so hostile towards me? You even asked Mom to take control of my dowry. What is your intention, second sister-in-law? Ms. Zhang's face changed immediately. You, I heard your conversation. Ms. Yen sneered. I am not giving my dowry away to anyone, so second sister-in-law, drop your idea. You don't have to like me and we can just go separate ways. But if you ever dare to play tricks behind my back, I will let you know what I am capable of. Having said that, Ms. Yen threw a cold glance at her and left. Ms. Zhang shivered with anger. How dare she? This bitch, this arrogant bitch. Ms. Zhang was angry at Ms. Yen and the first section of the family, too. The first section of the family must have taught her to behave like this, since they spent so much time together. Chapter 489. Busy spring. Ms. Yen felt quite distressed, too. She came from a peaceful family and the first section of the family of the Xiao family was quite peaceful, too. But her mother-in-law was stupid, and her sister-in-law was narrow-minded and jealous of her. She was so upset. She was thinking about spending 2 more years here, and then making a huge fuss to separate the families. She would rather give money and grain to her in-laws than live with them. It was just too stressful. The following day, Ms. Yen visited the first section of the family again. Qiao Xian talked about visiting the mountains the next day. She mentioned that they would be busy with a lot of things, thus won't be working with the needles and thread. The weather was getting warmer. The flower fields needed to be loosened, the gardens needed to be tidied up, and the cultivation of tea seedlings was about to begin. After all of these were done, the shiitake mushrooms, wooden ears, and snow fungus would be picked again. Also, the tea tree seedlings in the mountains would be ready to be picked. It was time to do the transplantation. The branches of the sapling fruit would also need to be cut. Spring plows should be prepared for the land at the Zhang village, and they had to get ready to plant lotus and raise fish in the pond as well. Moreover, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan would need to visit the province again. They were going to sell dried mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus this time. When they returned, the peach and apricot flowers would have bloomed. The first patch of roses would bloom as well. The spring would be a busy time for them. Especially when it came to planting trees and the creeping figs as well as lipsticks. All of these were important and big projects. They had very few people who could help. Hence, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan needed to visit the province as soon as possible so as to hire and buy some labor. When they got some time during the intervals, they would go into the mountains to walk around. Everyone except for Qi had not been there for a long while. They all kind of missed it. Even Xiao Yunduan had decided to follow along. They were all used to seeing Ms. Yen at their place these days. Feeling delighted, Tao Tao smiled at Ms. Yen. "Cousin, do you want to join us?" Everyone was startled hearing that. Although Ms. Yen went on well with Xiao Xian and Tao Tao, she was from the second section of the family, and there was still estrangement between them. Ms. Yen was aware of this point as well. But if Tao Tao mentioned this, it basically meant that she was being treated as a part of them. Even Tao Tao realized that she had said something wrong. Seeing Tao Tao's embarrassment, Xiao Xian smiled. "Yeah, cousin, want to join us? We can have fun together." Ms. Yen nodded in delight. "If you can take me, I would like to join you." She knew clearly what position Xiao Xian had in the first section of the family. Even someone as troublesome as Ms. Su was conquered, let alone others. Actually, Xiao Xian was speaking on behalf of the whole first section of the family. Tao Tao let out a sigh of relief, smiling as she gave a grateful look to Xiao Xian. "It's a deal. Cousin, come early in the morning. We will be leaving early." "Okay." After deciding this, they started to talk about the trip into the mountains. It was a lively conversation. Back in the room, Xiao Xian smiled at Xiao Yunduan. "Darling, you are well read and see things far more clearly. What do you think of this new cousin?" Xiao Yunduan chuckled. "You like to hang out with her. That is your gut feeling, right?" The two of them exchanged a look, and Xiao Xian smiled. "You are too smart, which makes me feel smart as well." Chapter 490, Feeling Closer. Xiao Yunduan smiled. "Cousin seems okay. The second section of the family is lucky to have her. She can control them." Xiao Xian nodded and said, "Yeah. We just need to talk sense with her and any matter can be solved." But second aunt and second uncle would get really annoyed because of her existence. Xiao Xian admired her cousin deeply. If she had been married to a family like that, she would have run away. Early in the morning, Ms. Yen showed up. The first section of the family had already made buns the night before and steamed them the following day. It was still cold enough to keep them from turning rancid overnight. They made sauerkraut, winter bamboo shoots with smoked meat dice stuffing, and vermicelli egg stuffing. They also steamed a lot of flour rolls with chopped green onions, and white flour steamed buns to take along for 11. Ms. Yen shared breakfast with the rest of the family and left before dawn just broke. They felt so happy to be in the mountains, which they had not been to in a long while. In this cold spring, the mountains were still green. The trees had not yet grown leaves, and the dead grass had also not yet grown new leaves. But the bare branches were already densely covered with buds with a layer of cuticle. As they gently pushed away the withered grass, they could see the tender yellow buds. After just a few days, the spring breeze would blow, and the buds would bloom overnight. That would be a sight of vitality and greenery. Xiao Xian's inner superpower was sensing the world outside. It was moving, accumulating power and was ready to burst out. Everyone was talking excitedly. There were no wild vegetables to pick. So, they picked some yams. Qi was put on the task to do the hunting. As always, he was very skillful. He pulled the bow and always hit the targets. Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao as well as Xiao Sanlang all cheered. They went up to pick the hunted animals. It was the first time for Ms. Yen to watch such a scene. She was startled. Qi was so good with bows and arrows. Honestly, with him around, the first section of the family would enjoy a good life for the rest of the days. Moreover, Xiao Yunduan had become a cultivated talent and Xiao Xian was from a family of officials. Ms. Yen was in awe of Qi and found that her in-laws were totally stupid in their heads. She was going to tell her husband not to talk ill about the first section of the family, or be calculative with them. They harvested a lot after half a day. They had dozens of wild roosters, rabbits, grouses and pigeons. Xiao Xian had seasoning spices with her, so they could eat roasted wild roosters and rabbits. As the sun shone upon them, wind blew by. It was not so cold there. Once the fire was lit, they felt nothing but warmth. They chose to start the fire close to the water source. They removed the skin and fur of the animals and soon put the wild rooster and wild rabbit into the bamboo and placed them over the fire. They had good control of the heat, and put salt, homemade 5-spice powder on top of them. They spread honey twice in the middle, and finally sprinkled chili powder on the skin. It looked like the skin was crispy and the meat was tender, especially delicious. Ms. Yen was not a foodie. But she could not help feeling attracted to the food. Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Sanlang could not wait to have a bite. The texture was crispy and it smelled fragrant. The roasting was well done and people just could not stop wanting to devour all of it. Chapter 491, Take It Slow. Xiao Sanlang could not help but speak up. We have harvested a lot today. Fifth sister-in-law, what about doing a grill in our backyard tonight? They had been making different kinds of dishes during the new year, and they tried grilling once, which left a good impression on everyone. Now they had a spacious place, much easier to grill. Everyone nodded, as they heard Xiao Sanlang's suggestion. Grilling was a lot of fun and delicious. It appealed to everyone's taste buds. No one could turn it down. Xiao Xian smiled. Okay, let's go down now. Or we will have no time to marinate the meat. Sure. Let's go home now. Seeing that everyone was laughing and cheering together, Ms. Yen smiled but felt jealous. She did not think that her own family could be as close as them. Xiao Xian smiled at her and offered. Join us. Ms. Yen did want to join them, but she shook her head and smiled. Next time. It is getting cold and it won't be okay to leave home at night. It was not a good thing for her to go to the first section of the family alone at night. She could hide it from everyone else, except for her husband. But the first section of the family did not invite her husband, and she could not possibly mention it to them herself. But it was not the first section of the family's fault. The second section of the family was too annoying and unfriendly to them before. She was already quite happy that Tao Tao and Xiao Xian accepted her so fast. She could take it slow to mend the relationship. Obviously, Xiao Xian and her family had thought about this as well. So they did not insist. On the way home, they dug up some fresh yams, winter bamboo, and went home with the harvest. Xiao Xian felt a bit sad about the lack of fresh vegetables. It was not time to eat different kinds of wild vegetables. When spring came, they could eat ferns, spring bamboo shoots, mushrooms, dandelion seedlings, shepherd's purse, Chinese tunes, wild onions, wild leeks, cress etc. Back at home, Miss Fang smiled. You are back early today. Oh, you got so many things. Xiao Sanlang smiled. We came home early to grill. Miss Fang laughed. No wonder you are home early. You are greedy for delicious food. It must have been your idea. Everyone laughed. It was always Xiao Sanlang who came up with the idea about food. Miss Fang picked 3 winter bamboos, 1 wild rooster and 1 wild rabbit to let Ms. Yen take back home. Ms. Yen turned her down, but Miss Fang smiled. You can't go home empty-handed, right? We have many things, just take them. Ms. Yen thanked her and left. When Ms. Yen was gone, they started to do a series of labor work including boiling water to remove hair, picking vegetables from the garden, preparing charcoal fire and wire, as well as lighting up the stove. Ms. Zu's belly had not yet stuck out. This baby did not stir up a lot of trouble in her stomach, so she was fine and could eat all kinds of things. Xiao Xian and Qi started to prepare the grill, which attracted Ms. Zu's attention, who helped with preparations as well. They had 13 wild roosters, 8 wild rabbits, roosters and pigeons and 5 other big wild birds. They gave away 2 to Ms. Yen but still had many left. They could not finish them in one go. So, Xiao Xian decided to salt them and hang them up to turn them into smoked food. Only when they were smoked could they be kept for a longer time. Chapter 492, Disapproval. They used 2 roosters and a rabbit and cut them into different slices. The meat was marinated with seasoning for the grill. They even marinated wings, chicken stomachs and feet, so everyone was able to have a portion each. They picked several 3-finger-wide cushion carps for marination as well. There were a few quibs as well added in. Apart from the meat dishes, they also prepared a few vegetables, including fresh shiitake mushrooms, leeks, winter bamboo shoot slices, winter melon slices, pumpkin slices, yam slices, Chinese cabbages, etc. To avoid the grill getting too oily, they chopped the roosters and pigeons into 4 big dices and marinated them with ginger and cooked wine for porridge. Xiao Xian made the seasoning. In the evening, they started the fire for the grill. The 2 stoves were covered with wire, and pieces of marinated meat were roasted on them. Soon, the meat started to sizzle and smelled great. Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Qing were walking around, eagerly waiting to eat. They could hear laughter in the backyard. Ms. Niu was very happy to see Ms. Yen bringing wild roosters and rabbits as well as bamboo home. Ms. Yen said that she bought them from eldest aunt, who sold them at a very low price. She even gave her the winter bamboos. Hearing that some money was spent, Ms. Niu felt heartbroken. She complained in an annoyed voice. Your eldest aunt is bullying you. She even asked you for money. Ms. Yen was speechless. She forced a smile and said, Mom, eldest aunt did not want it, but I insisted. We can't always take free things from them, right? I would not give away things for free if they ask me all the time as well. Also, it is really cheap. Let's cook the rooster with winter bamboo and leave the rabbit for tomorrow night. Ms. Knight. She did not like what Ms. Yen said, but she did not counter her. But when she thought that she did not pay herself and Ms. Yen did it for her sake, so she decided not to continue discussing it. She still added. Don't be so silly next time. Chi can hunt, and he can share stuff with us easily. We don't need to pay them. Ms. Yen smiled. I am going to cook now. Ms. Yen found the whole concept so strange. How could someone take things without paying and still find it reasonable? But she could not say anything against her mother-in-law, though she disapproved of her behavior. But she could say something to her husband. The next day, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian went to the Zhang village. They visited Ding Erzhu and his wife as well as a few tenants, discussing plowing when spring arrived. Then, they met the land officer at the Zhang village, informing him that the creeping figs and tea trees would be ready for cutting. This was the right time. It was neither cold nor hot, and the cuttings and transplanting would not lose water. After the first spring rain, they could quickly revive, take root and germinate. Also, Xiao Xian was surely going to take care of those plants with her superpower. They would survive and grow well. The villagers were willing to make some money for the early spring plow. Xiao Xian asked the villagers to apply at Ding Erzhu's place. There were 10 vacancies maximum, 1 from each family, until the positions were filled. The villagers would do the cutting, whilst the tenants would do transplanting. When the arrangement was done, they went into the mountains to dig tea tree seedlings and cut the creeping figs. They asked only their own people to do the work, rather than anyone outside the family. Chapter 493. Rolling eyes. Xiao Yunduan had become very confident after learning from Master Yun for so many days. He was a smart person to begin with and he could pick up things fast. During this period, Xiao Yunduan went to help with the digging of tea tree seedlings as well. Eventually, Xiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Sanlang and his wife, Xiao Dalong and Qi as well as Tao Tao were all there. Ms. Su would have joined them as well if she was not pregnant. She really wished to make money but she was pregnant so she dropped the idea. Eldest uncle did not know what Xiao Xian was up to. But seeing that they were going out, he said, "If you need any help, get Erlang and Silang to help you. Miling could be helpful too, if Tao Tao is with you." Xiao Sanlang could not help but roll his eyes. Xiao Xian smiled. "We are not short of laborers, thanks. Eldest uncle." He suspected that Xiao Xian was doing that on purpose but he had no evidence for that. The places where golden sprouts and lavenders grew had many tea tree seedlings. So, they dug them out, tied them up and transported them on the donkey carts to the Zhang village and passed them on to the tenants. The days were not yet warm, and Xiao Xian decided to wait a little longer for the seedlings to be planted. They did not have many tea tree seedlings. Hence, they spent 4 days digging everything that could be dug away. They had 5 mu of golden sprouts and 3 mu of lavender at the Zhang village. These tea seedlings could be picked this autumn, and Xiao Xian thought that the effort was worth it. It was a test for the tea processors to train themselves, so the whole process could be smooth henceforth. It will soon rise to a certain scale next year. With her superpower as the assistant, they would definitely have a lot of tea leaves next year. They had just finished digging when Xiao Dalong was summoned to the meeting. They were going to fix the main canal, and that's why Land Officer Ding gathered everyone for the meeting. As a result, Xiao Dalong did not join them to dig the creeping figs. There were 3 main canals in the village. All the water for irrigation of paddy fields was brought through these 3 main canals. The largest and longest main canal had not been repaired for many years, and it was high time. When the land officer mentioned it, no one objected. Therefore, all the households involved in the irrigation of the main canal would provide labor and take turns to repair it. The first section of the Xiao family also had a field to draw water from the canal, so Xiao Dalong had to repair it too. It would take 3 days. Xiao Xian and the others continued to go into the mountains to cut the creeping figs, whilst Xiao Dalong went to fix the canal. This work was much easier, and faster than digging seedlings. They cut a certain amount, sent it to the Zhang village in 1 day and had it cut into pieces of more than 20 centimeters. The amount of cuttings in a day was enough to cover 10 mu. At this rate, they would only need 5 days to finish the work. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Yunduan to stop during the last 3 days. "There is only a little work left, and we have enough help. You should stay at home and study." Xiao Yunduan could help when they were very busy, but not all the time. He was about to have lessons with Master Yun, thus he agreed. "Then, you should take it slow. We have enough time to complete this." Xiao Xian smiled and agreed. But not long after they returned home, someone rushed to them and said, "Dalong passed out because a stone hit his legs." Chapter 494. Care. Everyone's face changed. Ms. Su almost passed out, but was supported by Yang Xiaoni at the last minute. Xiao Xian asked in a calm manner. "Just the legs, right? Nothing else?" "It is fine, we can hire a doctor if he suffers from pain." "Don't worry, elder sister-in-law." "Yes, yes." Ms. Fang nodded, as she saw the messenger. "My son is okay otherwise, isn't he?" That man felt a little scared seeing Ms. Su getting frightened. After all, it was a pregnant woman. If something happened to the baby, the first section of the family would kill him for bringing that message. He said, "No, nothing else. Just the stone that hit his legs." Xiao Xian thanked him swiftly and said, Mom, let third brother and Chi get him home now. I will go with Tao Tao into the town to fetch a doctor. Just console elder sister-in-law and tell her he will be fine. Xiao Yunduan had taken the donkey cart when he went to Master Yun's place. Xiao Sanlang was always the one driving, but he was helping Xiao Xian with the creeping fig this time around, and hence did not follow him into the town. Miss Fang calmed herself down. Okay, you should head off now. Third and Chi, hurry up. Miss Su, don't worry, he just hurt his legs, nothing else. We are villagers who would inevitably get wounded sometimes. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao left in a hurry. Miss Su let out a sigh of relief, forcing a smile. You are right, Mom. I am fine. Soon, Ms. Yen hurried in. Elder aunt, anything I can do to help? Don't worry, he is a lucky guy, and he should be fine. Also, stones used for the canals would not be too big and he would not be so badly injured. Although that might not be the truth, yet Miss Fang and Miss Su felt assured hearing some reassuring words. They nodded and threw a grateful look at Ms. Yen. Miss Fang asked Ms. Yen to keep Miss Su company along with taking care of Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Dalong, whilst she went into the kitchen to boil water. She was waiting for Xiao Dalong to return and tried hard to press down the anxiety. Soon, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma as well as Ms. Zhang came over. Everyone expressed their concerns. Dalong's leg should be fine, right? He should have been more careful. Is he badly injured? He may not be able to do the spring plow if he is injured. He passed out in pain. Not sure if that is true. Don't worry. He is alive, right? He just needs some treatment. And even if he is handicapped, you can still survive without him, right? Miss Fang got so annoyed that she wanted to drive them out. Just stop showing your concern and go make your food. I am too busy to receive you here. Did they have any idea what they were talking about? They might as well shut. She was not in a mood to argue with them, but she got very angry hearing what they said. Ms. Yen was speechless. She knew that her brainless mother-in-law would say something stupid. So, she had asked her mother-in-law not to come along with her, and she could just pass on the message. But, she still came. Sure enough, she talked nonsense. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma did not dare to irritate Ms. Fang anymore at the moment. Chapter 495. Result: if Ms. Fang got annoyed and drove them away, they would suffer. Seeing Ms. Yen keep Ms. Su company, Ms. Zhang felt very uncomfortable, but she still smiled. Let me stay with my cousin as well. Ms. Fang threw a glance at her and said, Ms. Yen is enough. You can leave. Ms. Zhang felt so annoyed inside her heart. She was looking down at her. She forced a smile. Eldest aunt, let me stay and free up fourth sister-in-law's hands. She is still too young to understand anything. I can keep my cousin company. Ms. Yen knows her well. Miss Fang turned impatient. I have no time to argue with you. Just leave. Ms. Yen added in a calm tone. Second sister-in-law, just go home to make food for Mom. I can take care of my cousin. Don't worry. Ms. Yen was trying to help Ms. Zhang get rid of the embarrassment. But Ms. Zhang did not appreciate it. She felt that Ms. Yen was mocking and sneering at her, and showing off in front of her. She threw a glare at Ms. Yen and left quietly. She was filled with anger inside her heart. She felt jealous and annoyed. She was mistreated so badly. In her opinion, it was because Ms. Yen was richer than her. Ms. Yen was treated well by both her mother-in-law and the first section of the family. They just knew how to take advantage of others. All these people should suffer one day. They were the bad ones. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao managed to rent a bull cart to travel into the town. They kept urging the uncle to drive faster. The driver also understood that they were in need of a doctor at the moment. But the bull cart could not go too fast. As they reached the town, Xiao Xian spoke with manager Qin from Mingren Tang. who packed up his stuff and went out with the page boys, even though it was closing time. Tao Tao and Xiao Xian as well as the doctor and page boy went in the wagon, whilst the uncle drove the bull cart alone and slowly. When they arrived home, it was bustling in the room. Everyone was present, talking about things. Xiao Yunduan and Qi were waiting for them at the gate and finally saw them return. Fifth brother. How is elder brother? Tao Tao almost shed tears. Xiao Yunduan said gently, elder brother has woken up. He is all right. Dr. Qin, please, this way. They heard the arrival of the doctor and spared the way for him. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian exchanged a glance and reminded Miss Fang, seeing so many people around. Miss Fang brought herself back and thanked everyone present, driving them away. Xiao Yunduan asked the crowd to go out and Xiao Sanlang helped to drive them away as well. They left seeing that the doctor was here and it was getting late in the day. It also seemed that the Xiao family did not need much help. They did not want to be in the way at this time. Second uncle and third uncle were still waiting for the diagnosis. Dr. Qin checked Xiao Dalong's wounds and his heart skipped a beat. He was experienced and did not reveal his inner thoughts easily. Third uncle could not wait and asked. How is it, Dr. Qin, can my nephew keep his leg? Many people say that it is a severe injury. Miss Fang shouted furiously. Just shut up. Chapter 496, Nice words. Third uncle said unhappily, eldest sister-in-law, you can't vent anger on us. I am simply telling the truth. We can't ignore the facts. Just get out of here. Now. Miss Fang turned furious, pushing third uncle out of the room despite other guests being present there. Third uncle snapped. What are you doing? I am concerned about my nephew. I can't change the truth no matter what I say, you are just so confused. Get out of here. Eldest brother, look at this. Please leave. Xiao Yunduan said coldly, don't disturb Dr. Qin while treating my elder brother. Otherwise, we will not spare you. Yes. You are simply talking nonsense, why should we be nice to you? We don't need your care. Xiao Sanlang and the brothers went up and glared at third uncle. Eldest uncle stopped Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Yunduan, sighing. Please, leave now. We can take care of Dalong here and we will keep you updated. Your eldest sister-in-law is just very anxious, please don't hold a grudge against her. Miss Fang sneered and spat at them. Xiao Sanlang and his brothers pushed them out. Third uncle and second uncle got annoyed, cursing that the family was heartless in the face of their concern. They finally left in anger. Seeing the scene, Ms. Yen got up and waved them goodbye automatically. Ms. Fang nodded and said gently, thanks for your help today. You are welcome. My pleasure. When the outsiders were gone, everyone turned nervous as they turned to Manager Qin. Xiao Xian had already told Manager Qin about Ms. Zu's pregnancy. She said that if the situation was bad, he should share the truth privately. Manager Qin examined Xiao Dalong's calf, which was in a terrible situation. It might have been broken to a serious degree, and he might be limping from this day on. His right leg would not be strong enough to stand any heavy work. Also, during the change of seasons, it might hurt every time. Manager Qin sighed emotionally. But he felt that the Xiao family had a good status and Xiao Yunduan was a cultivated talent whilst Xiao Xian could make a lot of money. So, one limping labor might not cause any problems for the family's livelihood. But he was going to be handicapped henceforth. That was a hurtful thing for all. He should be fine soon. Just take a good rest and wait for the injury to recover. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian exchanged a look. Their hearts sank. Manager Qin was making a vague statement. They understood what he meant. Miss Fang and the others did not notice the slight difference. They looked cheerful and smiled in relief. For real? That is great. I know he will be fine. Elder brother, don't worry. Just take a good rest. I am sure you will get better soon. Yeah, elder sister-in-law, don't worry. Xiao Dalong let out a sigh of relief and turned to Ms. Su, who had a pale face, smiling and nodding. Thank you all for looking after me, elder brother, you are being too polite. That is true. Ms. Su smiled too. Her eyes were wet, and she felt grateful and moved. They were lucky to have escaped. Manager Qin put an ointment and rebandaged Xiao Dalong's wound. He wrote some prescriptions and medical herbs for Xiao Dalong to eat and put on his legs. He had many medicines with him for leg treatment. Chapter 497, Not good in a few days. They needed to go into the town to fetch another portion of medicine. Otherwise, Manager Qin could come to check on him after 5 days. They could just use the medicine they had right now till then. Miss Fang insisted that Manager Qin should come and check him again. The Xiao family would gladly pay for the medical bills and fare. Manager Qin nodded. He needed to go back to the town, and waved goodbye to the first section of the family. The gate of the town was closed at this hour. But he was the doctor, so he had the special right to be allowed inside. All he needed to do was to show the patrol soldiers his identity card and to write down on the register what he had done and where he had been to. The first section of the family thanked him gratefully. Miss Chiao told Miss Fang that she had already paid him. Just rest well, Mom. Miss Fang nodded and sighed. Good child. You have had a long day too. I will give the money to you later. Xiao Xian nodded and walked out with Xiao Yunduan, Manager Qin and his page boys. Manager Qin. Manager Qin sighed slightly, knowing that these two had already understood what he meant. He said in a small voice, I am sorry, but Dalong is in a bad condition. His legs might not be well again. Xiao Yunduan's heart sank. Manager Qin, please. Tell me what we can do to make elder brother recover. We are willing to try everything. Don't worry. Manager Qin smiled bitterly. I am a doctor. I am not going to hide anything from you since you trust me. The bones of his calf and leg are seriously damaged, and the tendons are injured. Even the orthopedic master who is best at bone setting can't guarantee that he can recover fully. I'm afraid. Well, he should be able to walk, except that it will not be as convenient as before, and he won't be able to do any heavy work. Xiao Yunduan's face sank. No other solution? Manager Qin shook his head slightly. Almost impossible. Xiao Xian said, almost impossible, but there is a small possibility of recovering, right? Manager Qin did not know what to say. It can be taken as that. But full recovery was almost impossible. Xiao Xian smiled. That is good. Elder brother has always been healthy and maybe he can recover fast. He should eat well and rest well, so he can get better, right? Manager Qin. Well, makes sense. Xiao Yunduan greeted him. Thanks, Manager Qin. Take care on the way. I am off now. Manager Qin greeted back and left with his page boys. Darling, elder brother will recover. Xiao Yunduan felt his heart warm. He nodded slightly. Yes. He will. I am thinking about visiting the province and asking Brother Yuezheng and Brother Xia for help, to see if any expert doctors can come and take a look at him. Xiao Xian was startled. She had thought about showing her abilities. After all, she managed to heal the old master of the Yuezheng family. But Xiao Yunduan's words made sense. Manager Qin told them what might happen. But they would not give up unless they tried everything. Okay, then. You can go tomorrow, and I will take care of the family. Don't worry. Miss Fang was in a panic mode and she might not be capable of handling things currently. No one but Xiao Xian could bear the responsibilities of managing the house as of now. Chapter 498, Strange. Xiao Yunduan felt much calmer. They returned to the room and heard laughter. Everyone in there believed that Xiao Dalong would be able to recover completely, thus feeling relaxed. Seeing the scene, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan felt even worse. They just could not imagine what the family would be like if elder brother's leg never healed. Especially Ms. Fang and Ms. Su. Xiao Yunduan put on a relatively cheerful face and said, "Elder brother, what on earth happened today? Do you still remember?" Everyone fell silent and turned to Xiao Dalong. Ms. Fang asked with her teeth clenched. "Yes, tell me. What happened? Such a thing should not have occurred." The part of the canal that Xiao Dalong was working on was not on a high place. How could a stone hit him so badly? Xiao Dalong smiled bitterly. "I wasn't paying attention." Ding Jinfa and Ding Jinkai were carrying a huge rock as they passed by the hill and got tripped. Then, the rock rolled down along the hill and I failed to dodge it. Miss Fang felt so annoyed. "That is all?" "Yeah. That's it. Damn it." Miss Fang clenched her teeth. "They hurt you and they have said nothing to us? This is not done." Ms. Su agreed. Xiao Yunduan said, "Let's wait until tomorrow to see what they will do. It was an accident." But Xiao Dalong was unlucky enough to have run into the Eclipse 11L. They all became less cheerful than before. Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao made dinner and they found the day had turned dark and everyone was starving. "Let's eat first." Miss Fang smiled. "Sanlang, take the food to your elder brother first and you can eat later." "Okay, Mom." Miss Su smiled. "Mom, let me do that. I am capable of such small things." Xiao Xian smiled too. "Yeah, Mom. Let the elder sister-in-law eat with the elder brother. They can keep each other company." "That sounds great." Ms. Su added. Miss Fang did not oppose it. She smiled and nodded in agreement. Xiao Sanlang was a foodie. But he could take the food to his elder brother before he himself ate. Xiao Xian admired their brotherhood. There was no news overnight. The next day, Xiao Yunduan left before the dawn broke. He was going to ask about doctors in the province. Xiao Yunduan did not tell Ms. Fang and eldest uncle about this until this morning. It was Xiao Xian who mentioned it. They all cheered. "That is great. Dalong will be healed soon." Miss Su was so moved as she turned to Xiao Xian. "Fifth sister-in-law, thank you all." Xiao Xian smiled. "Don't mention it, elder sister-in-law. We are a family." Due to what happened to Xiao Dalong, they did not go into the mountains to cut the creeping figure. Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Xiaoqi were busy taking care of Xiao Dalong. Xiao Xian asked Tao Tao to keep her company to drive to the Zhang village and to deliver the creeping figs which they had cut the day before, so Ding Erju and the others could plant them after a few days. Second uncle and third uncle came to check on the situation early the next day. Seeing Ms. Fang in a good mood, they heard Ms. Fang telling them that Xiao Dalong would recover after a few days. They all nodded cheerfully and showed some care before leaving. Chapter 499, Apology. The news that Xiao Dalong would not limp was spread across the whole village. Only then did Ding Jinkai and his brother, together with their parents, came to the Xiao family to apologize, with lowered heads. Miss Fang, Miss Su and Miss Chiao were really displeased, especially Miss Fang and Miss Su. They should have come to apologize the day before. But they simply rushed home after causing the accident, and Xiao Dalong was not even carried back by them. They came to apologize only after they heard that Dalong was getting better. Miss Fang sneered. "What a rare thing that you remember to drop by today. I thought you chose to forget about it." Miss Su was always quiet. But she added ironically this time. "I thought they would have been here yesterday." The two brothers of the Ding family and their parents looked very embarrassed. Ding Jinkai's mother forced a smile. Apologies, they were too scared to face the matter. Both of us were furious with them. We scolded and beat them yesterday. But it was too late to visit you, so we come this morning. It is their fault, but please, don't be mad. Ms. Fang found the behavior to be disgusting. But she snorted coldly, without saying anything more. Eldest uncle coughed. It was an accident. No one wanted it to happen. Dalong is doing well and you have already apologized to us, so, Ms. Fang cut in. So that is it? Luckily, my son is fortunate and strong. But when are you going to pay us the medical fees? Ding Jinkai and his brother, as well as parents, were startled. Medical fees? Yeah. Ms. Fang said, my son can't just both suffer physically and spend money too. Ding Jinkai mumbled. But we have no money. And you are so rich. His parents were silent but they showed the same expression. Ms. Fang got annoyed and snapped. You made a mistake, and you don't even pay for the medical fees? It doesn't matter if we are rich or not. They did not do that on purpose. Xiao Xian smiled. Then, if someone does not do that on purpose, they can also just offer an apology and leave? Yeah, how can that be so easy and simple? Ms. Fang threw a look at them. You pay half, okay? The Ding family exchanged a look between themselves, at a loss of words. They did not do it deliberately. But Xiao Dalong did get injured because of them. The Xiao family was already kind enough to let them pay half of the medical fees. There was nothing they could do, if they forced them to pay the full bill. Okay, then, Jinkai's father sighed, smiling bitterly. My sons made a mistake, and we will cover the fees. Ms. Fang looked less annoyed and added. You can pay us 2 liang first. I am not overcharging you. Those are real costs. Else, you can ask manager Qin at Mingren Tang in the town about it. They believed what she said but they could not accept it. Jinkai's parents tried to look poor and pleaded with Ms. Fang and eldest uncle about cutting the fees, which was turned down by Ms. Fang. She did not care about the exact amount. She just did not like how it happened. Chapter 500, Decision. Her son met an unexpected accident and she was already so annoyed and concerned. She spared some part of the fees for them and they still tried to bargain. Finally, it was Ding Jinkai who agreed suddenly. His parents were so anxious. But he nodded too fast and Ms. Fang accepted it quickly enough for his parents to be unable to turn the table. So, they had no choice but to go and fetch the money. Land Officer Ding came to visit them too. He even asked Xiao Dalong to get well and not worry about having to work for the repair of the canal anymore. That made Ms. Fang and the whole family annoyed. Xiao Dalong got injured because of the canal repair work. Although they did need the canal themselves, it was a project organized by the whole village. The village should pay some respect for Xiao Dalong's injuries. Land Officer Ding did not even show up earlier. He just asked his wife to come and check it out, showing a little concern and saying that they did not need to get involved with the labor for the canal repair any longer, as if the Xiao family was taking advantage of him. He was the land officer, and he was not related to the project directly. Ms. Fang and the family could not do anything about it. So, they dropped it. Xiao Xian still decided to do something about it. I know some acupuncture. Mom, elder brother and elder sister-in-law, if you trust me, I can do something so that you can be relieved from pain. Xiao Dalong's wound was hurting terribly and he could not stand the pain as he groaned. That was when Xiao Xian mentioned this. The external wounds were causing him so much pain, despite the anti-inflammatory drugs. Xiao Dalong had never felt so much pain before. His head was turning dizzy and his eyes were blurry. He felt that even breathing was agony for him. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, he replied quickly. Please, fifth sister-in-law, thank you. Xiao Dalong sounded very determined, and both Ms. Fang and Ms. Su were startled. Ms. Fang glanced at Xiao Xian, nodding. Ms. Qiao, do it. Ms. Su was worried that Xiao Xian was just putting on a show. She wanted to intervene but then stopped herself. The fifth sister-in-law was just being kind. Moreover, she could not object when her mother-in-law and husband both approved of the suggestion. Fifth sister-in-law, just be careful. Don't force yourself. You are not a doctor, and if you fail, it is okay. What she meant was that if she could not do anything to make her husband feel better, she could just drop it directly. Xiao Xian knew that Ms. Su was worried about her husband, so even though she didn't speak nice words, Xiao Xian did not say anything about it but smiled. Xiao Xian had bought 3 silver needles from the province after the last incident. So, she managed to put on a proper show this time with them. Acupuncture was just an act. She was actually injecting superpower into Xiao Dalang's body, and was trying to heal his wound from inside. Miss Fang and Ms. Su knew nothing. They were easily fooled. But she could not make Xiao Dalang recover instantly. After all, he was injured very badly. Hence, Xiao Xian concentrated her superpower on the broken bones. Gradually, he would turn better and others would link it to using good medicine and resting well, rather than suspect the strangeness of his recovery. As the superpower went into his body and caressed the pain, Xiao Dalang suddenly felt relief. He became far more relaxed. Xiao Yunduan suddenly realized that he had said something improper. He apologized. Sorry, Dr. Dong, I am not doubting you. It is just that I feel very worried. Thanks for your efforts, Dr. Dong. Dr. Dong relaxed after hearing his words. True, young master was just so worried about his elder brother that he could not believe what had happened. They had a great brotherhood. Dr. Dong ignored the mistake and consoled him. Don't worry, I can definitely help him recover. It was getting late. Dr. Dong and his disciple spent the night at the first section of the family. Seeing that the situation was getting better, Xiao Xian went to cook food with Tao Tao and Qi helping her. They soon had 3 dishes ready. There was stir-fried smoked meat with garlic sprouts, steamed sausage, fried winter bamboo shoots, spinach and egg soup for Dr. Dong and his disciple. Chapter 502, Relief. The smell of smoked meat and sausages was fragrant, the winter bamboo shoots were delicious and tender, and the hot spinach and egg soup made people warm and comfortable. The food made them, who had been driving the whole day, feel so refreshed. They could not help but develop good feelings towards the Xiao family. The meal just eased them up. Back in the room, Xiao Yunduan smiled and said that they could really be relieved after listening to the doctor's words. Xiao Yunduan could not understand the truth and Xiao Xian found it funny. She was not confused at all but still tried to cover it up. She explained. It is said that there is a specialization in surgery. Dr. Dong is good at treating trauma, so it is not surprising that he can diagnose more accurately than Manager Qin. Furthermore, the elder brother had just been injured on the day when Manager Qin came, so the doctor's diagnosis might not be so accurate at that time. After all, no one knows how well the elder brother's body can heal. Now it seems that it has something to do with the elder brother's physique. Perhaps the eldest brother himself tends to recover easily. Xiao Yunduan thought what Xiao Xian said made sense. But something seemed amiss after pondering over it. He might have overthought about this. Thankfully, it was all good now. Xiao Yunduan slightly relaxed and nodded with a smile. You are right, darling. Dr. Dong and his disciple left early the next morning, since the patient's situation wasn't urgent. Xiao Xian conducted 2 more days of acupuncture and after the medication from the new doctor, Xiao Dalang felt much better. His wound still ached and there was inflammation, but the pain did not cause him too much discomfort. It was bearable. Xiao Dalang was so grateful and kept thanking Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Oh yes, 5th sister-in-law, I can just stay here and rest, you can do whatever you want. Don't bother about me. I am sorry that I can't help you now, that is okay. Xiao Yunduan smiled. We can take it slow with our work. Elder brother, just focus on your recovery. Seeing that Xiao Dalong was doing well, Qiao Xian and the others went into the mountains to cut the creeping figs. Qiao Xian did not allow Xiao Yunduan to tag along. He was not needed for the remaining work. It should turn out well. Qiao Xian and Xiao Sanlang, Yang Xiaoni, Tao Tao, and Qi spent 3 days gathering enough creeping figs. Then, their work would be sorting flower fields, digging the soil and removing weeds. They hired Xiao Dali and a few others from the village for help, together with Yang Xiaoni, Qi and Tao Tao who supervised the work. They only hired people with sealed lips. The hired workers saw a house inside the flower field and got curious, but they stopped prying when Tao Tao said that it was a place for them to take a break and appreciate flowers. No one saw the whole set of tools of lipsticks inside, thus saying nothing. The whole village soon learned about the hiring. Qiao Xian hired 3 families including Xiao Dali, who were paid 30 won each. It was a great deal. Everyone in the village got really jealous about it. The second and third section of the family were furious. But they thought of how they owed them the free labor. They gave up making a fuss since they did not want to work for the first section of the family for no payment. Moreover, Miss Fang was not in a good mood these days due to Xiao Dalong's accident. So, the other sections of the family did not dare to cause any trouble. Chapter 503, A Story MS. Zhang still tried to make a fuss, sneering in front of Ms. Yen. Aren't you visiting the first section of the family every day and sucking up to them? I thought they were nice to you. But look, you are nothing in their eyes. Ms. Yen chuckled. I am not sure what you mean, second sister-in-law. They treat me nicely. We are relatives, but I never thought about getting any benefits from them. So, you are worrying unnecessarily. Ms. Zhang snorted, sounding disdainful. She believed that it was Ms. Yen who didn't want to admit it. Ms. Yen did not want to argue with Ms. Zhang over this point. She had no interest in explaining it any further to Ms. Zhang. She did not care what Ms. Zhang thought about her relationship with the first section of the family. It was none of her business anyway. Ms. Yen still visited the first section of the family every day. Sometimes the visit was a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. But, she was always there. The cutting of the creeping figs was completed within 2 days. Qiao Xian went to visit the Zhang village again. Accompanied by Ding Erzhu and his wife, they went to survey the field of the creeping figs as well as the tea forest. She claimed that she wanted to see how the creeping figs and the trees were growing whilst in fact, she was trying to put her superpower into the plants. Otherwise, the trees were withering and the creeping figs might not survive. Qiao Xian pretended to be tired and took a break, during which time, she silently exerted her superpower, bringing vitality to the plants. Qiao Xian could sense that the trees that had been running out of water were already growing back at a very high speed. The creeping figs had full buds and found roots underground, that made Qiao Xian feel assured. She was going to exert one more burst of her superpower, so the plants should grow better. Back at home, she ran into Ms. Yen, Ms. Fang and Ms. Su having a nice conversation. Qiao Xian walked in and greeted them, as she turned to the backyard to wash hands. Fifth sister-in-law, Ms. Yen followed up. Qiao Xian looked up at her, smiling. Hi, second sister-in-law. Ms. Yen looked hesitant. But she lowered her voice. I need to tell you something. Qiao Xian was surprised. Ms. Yen was a cautious person. She must have been bothered by something when she hesitated with her words. Come to my place. Qiao Xian led Ms. Yen to the east wing of her yard. Ms. Yen let out a big sigh as if she were making a big decision. She said to Qiao Xian in a low voice, I bumped into Land Officer Ding and Widow Sun talking in the bamboo forest near Widow Sun's garden. I was close by, but they did not notice me. Ms. Yen happened to be in the neighborhood area near Widow Sun's home yesterday afternoon, when she was picking vegetables. Ms. Yen saw some winter bamboos in the forest, thus hoping to try some luck. Unexpectedly, her luck wasn't with her. She did not find the winter bamboos, but accidentally ran into the affairs of Land Officer Ding and Widow Sunday. Ms. Yen got so frightened. But the thick, tall bush in the forest sheltered her. She collapsed and her hands covered her chest tightly, holding back her breath. She was a newcomer to the village. She should not reveal this to anyone else, even if she saw that. Chapter 504. No evidence. She would find herself in trouble if she spilled the beans to anyone. But she overheard their conversation. They were talking about Xiao Dalong's injuries. It was not an accident. Land Officer Ding made this happen just to flatter Widow Sunday. Widow Sun kept cursing the first section of the Xiao family, especially Ms. Fang, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. She cursed at them so fiercely as if they were her worst enemies. Widow Sun kept blaming the land officer for not being able to do this well. She said that he should have ruined Xiao Dalong's legs, rather than leave him any chance to recover. Widow Sun hated them so deeply. She wanted to take revenge upon Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, but she had no chance, with one of them being the cultivated talent and the other the daughter of the county magistrate. She did not dare to offend them, after all. But she did not want the first section of the family to have a good time. So, she had eyes upon the most down-to-earth man in the family, Xiao Dalong. As long as everything turned messy in the first section of the Xiao family, she would be really pleased. When she heard that Xiao Dalong had been hit on the legs and passed out, and that his legs might get ruined, Widow Sun felt so pleased. But soon the pleasure was gone after one day. Hence, she became really furious. Seeing Land Officer Ding, she started to complain. Land Officer Ding had intended to visit her the day before, but she did not open the door. Still, he caught her when she came to the vegetable garden today by pretending as if he were passing by, after seeing that no one was around. Ms. Yen accidentally ran into this conversation. Ms. Yen did not even have the strength to get up until they two left. She wondered what on earth was the grudge between Widow Sun and the first section of the family that she hated them so much. She wondered if she should reveal the secret. If she kept the secret, she would feel very uncomfortable in heart, but if she told the first section of the family about it, she would be doing them a huge favor, which she did not want to waste so easily. She had no evidence. Nor did she want to get involved with this thing. She was a newcomer, and if she was involved, her reputation might be ruined. After thinking for a long while, Ms. Yen finally decided to tell Xiao Xian about it first. She believed that Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were calm people who would know what to do with this matter properly. If she told this to Ms. Fang and Ms. Su, Ms. Yen would not be able to imagine what might happen. Xiao Xian was shocked. Are you sure, second sister-in-law? For real? Widow Sun had never had a good reputation, and Xiao Xian heard some gossip about her too. But Xiao Xian never believed those groundless rumors. Widows were always the topic of gossip for some people. But Widow Sun was over the top. Ms. Yen felt relieved after telling her. She nodded. I am not mistaken. I saw through the cracks. It was them. Xiao Xian, she felt fury arising inside her heart. That is disgusting. Fifth sister-in-law, please calm down. Ms. Yen felt her heart throbbing. Fifth sister-in-law, should you speak with fifth brother about this first? Don't tell eldest aunt right now. She might. She might rush into Widow Sun and the land officers' homes to make a fuss about it. If that happened, things would get worse. Xiao Xian took a deep breath. Second sister-in-law, don't worry. I will talk about this with my husband first, and we will never tell anyone else, including Mom, about it. We have no evidence at the moment, after all. Chapter 505, Revenge. Also, I will never mention your name either. Ms. Yen let out a sigh of relief, but felt her legs getting weak. She said gratefully, "Thanks, fifth sister-in-law, for your kindness." Xiao Xian smiled. "I should thank you for telling me this. Ms. Yen did not have to get involved in this. If she kept this to herself, no one would know about it ever." Ms. Yen smiled. "I would feel uneasy in my heart if I kept it to myself." That was true. Xiao Xian asked a few more questions about this, and Ms. Yen gave her as many details as she could. Then, she left when there was nothing else to share. The moment she left, Xiao Xian went to Xiao Yunduan. She needed to tell Xiao Yunduan about this as early as possible. Xiao Yunduan got so furious that he struck his hand hard on the table, looking lethal and cold. Xiao Xian's heart throbbed. She shivered. She had never seen Xiao Yunduan getting angry like this. Even on the wedding night when she almost killed herself, he had not been this angry. She tugged Xiao Yunduan's sleeves with some hesitation. "Darling, don't be too angry. Elder brother is getting better, right? Anyways, what do you intend to do about it?" Xiao Yunduan was not going to let it go so easily. Xiao Xian could tell that from his expressions. Unfortunately, there was no evidence, and the land officer as well as the widow were two special status people, very difficult to deal with. Xiao Yunduan calmed himself down and turned to look at Xiao Xian gently. "I have my own thoughts about this. You should pretend as if you never heard about this. Be sure not to tell mom and elder sister-in-law." He did not want this to spoil her ears. Mom was impulsive and she should not learn about this. The elder sister-in-law was pregnant and she must be kept away from this as well. He should be the one who should take revenge. Seeing Xiao Yunduan's look, Xiao Xian understood that her husband planned to do it in secret. After all, there was no open method that could be used for revenge. But you should be careful not to get involved. He had a promising future, and he should not bet on it. If lost, he might lose big. Xiao Yunduan nodded gently. "I know my limit. Don't worry." Xiao Xian smiled but again asked in confusion. "Do we have any grudge with Widow's son for her to do something like this? What made her so angry that Widow's son would combine forces with the land officer to set up her family? Xiao Dalong was the victim this time, what about next time? If she dared to do that once, what would stop her from doing it again? The threat should be removed, or they will never have a peaceful life." Xiao Xian did not think that the grudge would have originated from the time when she argued with her along with mother-in-law, a while back. Chapter 506. For his elder brother. When Ms. Yen visited them again, Xiao Xian greeted her happily as if nothing had happened. That made Ms. Yen feel less worried. She knew that Xiao Xian had lived up to her promise. Xiao Xian started to sort out one mu in the garden for cultivating tea tree buds. When the land was sorted well, the tea seeds could be buried. With the help of her superpower, she could make the transplantation happen by early April. At that time, the tea trees would grow to a certain height. They would be trimmed in autumn, and harvested for the next year. She could also put some superpower into the tea tree buds and the creeping figs so they could grow faster and better. No one had any prior knowledge about it, so even if it grew fast, people might assume that it should be like this. Then, she would work on mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus. This batch of white fungus grew quite a lot. The snow-white fungus once bloomed like clouds and flowers. They were thick and beautiful. They were carefully picked one by one and spread out in a dustpan to dry. Xiao Xian told Xiao Yunduan that when the mushrooms and snow fungus were sun-dried, they would visit the province to buy some laborers as well as lotus root, water chestnuts, and so on to plant in the pond. Xiao Yunduan nodded in agreement. Hearing about Widow's son and land officer Ding's conspiracy, Xiao Yunduan went out every night. He even asked Xiao Xian to sleep first instead of waiting for him to return. Xiao Xian had no idea what was going on, but by the third night, Xiao Xian understood the situation. He was watching over at Widow's son's door. He was doing everything he could for his elder brother. Xiao Xian was surprised, but found his behavior reasonable too. Catching them on the spot was the only method. If his plan was to catch them red-handed, the best method was to be the most patient hunter who guarded their prey until they came to the trap. He did not want her to know about his plan, but Xiao Xian did not ask him either. They both knew what was happening. Xiao Yunduan was not in a hurry. He guarded the place for 7 days in a row until he finally, on the 8th night, saw Land Officer Ding sneaking into Widow Sun's yard. Xiao Yunduan waited and did not leave until half an hour later. Suddenly, fire broke out in Widow Sun's home that night, and almost half of the village went to help put out the fire. Land Officer Ding got so anxious that he wanted to leave directly, but the windows and doors were all shut from outside, and he could not leave at all. So, everyone who came to help put out the fire got shocked seeing Land Officer Ding sneaking out of Widow Sun's room. What was going on? They understood immediately that Land Officer Ding was not in Widow Sun's room for a friendly chat. They were doing something indecent. Land Officer Ding realized that he had been set up and became furious. He wished that he could disappear from there out of shame, when everyone was teasing him. He knew that he was done this time. Luckily, his wife and 2 sons were not here to put out the fire, otherwise he would be so humiliated. Widow Sun was shocked too. She flushed deeply, but soon, she understood what she should do. She took hold of Land Officer Ding suddenly and glanced at the crowd. I am remarrying Brother Ding as his concubine. We are not doing anything wrong. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.